Welcome back to Albertson Stadium. The Rebels are on the road, undefeated at 6-0, and now they take the field. Sacked on the first play is Anthony Calandria. They have to win that first down battle, Johnny. It is now 2nd and 17 at their own 18. Calandria under center. Thomas bounces out left side, breaks a tackle, and another, dragging a couple defenders, and is finally brought down around the 27.
And right there, what a perfect response by Jet Thomas, being able to understand, yes, we got a sack on first down, but what am I going to do when my number is called? I'm going to pick up as many yards as possible, make sure that Corey Dennis has a nice play on his call sheet to set us up for a 3rd and manageable. And that's the type of answer that they're going to need from their leaders today. This Boise State defense is going to come out. They're going to be hard-hitting, led by defensive back Ty Benefield. They are going to be aggressive today.
A manageable 3rd and 7 here for the Rebels. Calandria looking, fires left. Incomplete pass intended for Jaden Bradley. Unable to convert, and it'll be a 3-and-out on the first drive.
That's a great defensive back play right there by number 20, Mickey, being able to stay on the hip pocket of Jaden Bradley. And we've seen Jaden Bradley and Anthony Calandria so far this year have been money, especially when they needed it the most. Right there, they're not able to get that big 3rd down conversion. UNLV will have to settle for a 3-and-out and play smart football. Don't go for it here, understanding that the game is still very young. Just get rid of the football, live to fight another day.
Jaden Mickey, the redshirt junior from Eastvale, California, with the deflection and pass breakup. And now punting it for the Rebels is Cam Brown, the freshman from Coolangatta, Australia. And he pins that at the Boise State 40. Now coming out is Maddox Madsen this season, 66% completion at home, 285 yards per game, and has been 8 touchdowns with 0 interceptions with a 3-0 record at home.
And UNLV is going to make sure that Maddox Madsen is not comfortable in the pocket today. He's a smaller quarterback. He's only 5'10", 185 pounds, but the guy can absolutely sling it.
Play action on first down. Rolls out right. Incomplete pass, way too low there. Intended for his receiver, number 3, Latrell Caples.
And what do they do on the first play? They try to put him out in a bootleg and allow him to use his athleticism as a quarterback, get him out going in space. Unfortunately, when you're a quarterback running those bootleg passes, we've seen it with Anthony Calandria, you have to square your shoulders up and give your receiver a chance. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to do that on that play.
Coach Mullen spoke earlier in the week about the importance of first down, as it is 2nd and 10 at the Boise State 40. The run there, only a gain of 1, tackled by Amaris Brown.
Amaris Brown, the star of the show for this UNLV defense, the leader. 4 interceptions on the season, 2 touchdowns so far. But right there, showing his versatility in that nickelback position, not only being able to play great coverage, but also play in the run fit, setting up a 3rd and 9 now for this UNLV defense. They want to be successful today. They have to be efficient like they were on 1st and 2nd down.
Dylan Riley with a gain of 1 on the ground. It's now 3rd and 9. Riley in motion, now back in the backfield for the Broncos.
A lot of off-man coverage here from UNLV. It looks like Madsen seen something he likes, checked out of it.
And with 1 on the play clock, they get it off. Rolling out right, fires near sideline, connects inside UNLV territory. Catch and throw there. Great play by Ben Ford.
Right there, Ben Ford running a beautiful flood concept and another rollout pass. They have the offensive line shifting to the right side to give Madsen more time. And because UNLV is playing such off-man coverage, they're playing bail technique with those cornerbacks, you're giving them so much space. And all Madsen has to do is put the ball right on the money for his wide receiver.
26-yard gain there for Madsen. 1st and 10 at the Rebel 33 under center. Madsen play action, looking across the middle. Incomplete, too low there. Intended for Caples again.
That's the 2nd time today, Wyatt, that we've seen Madsen miss a connection with his wide receiver. And right there, just getting the ball a little bit too low. But when you're able to play up-tempo football like this, it opens up the play-action game. And that's how you have a wide receiver coming wide open across the middle of the field. Linebackers coming downhill thinking that it is a run. You're able to pull the defense. If they were able to connect on there, it could have been a big play for Boise.
First down percentage of efficiency is something that the College Football Playoffs Committee considers. And a huge breakout run here down the far side, near sideline. Diving for the pylon is Riley, awaiting the sideline judge, but looks like he's short. A huge run there.
huge hole down the middle. And this was what part of the problem with Air Force last week. This UNLV defense, and it starts with Lucas Conti and Jalen Lee from those defensive tackle positions. They have to do a better job of meeting the offensive linemen at the line of scrimmage and not allowing for big holes to develop for these running backs. Riley was able to take advantage of it and get down to the 1-yard line.
They are down at the 2. Handoff up the middle. Close to the goal line. It's Sire Gaines awaiting the call from the referees. He's in. Touchdown Broncos. Sire Gaines from 2 yards out.
And the Broncos on their first possession on offense take advantage of that quick UNLV 3-and-out, and they're able to do it with the pass game. And what do? When they are down in the red zone, they are going to lean on the strengths of this football team, and that is with this running back committee. They have 2 running backs in Sire Gaines and Dylan Riley that have had over 300 yards so far on the season, and both are averaging. Dylan Riley is averaging 7 yards a carry, and Sire Gaines is averaging 5.1 a carry. These running backs are going to be extremely important for this team if they want to be successful, and UNLV is going to have to answer back on the offensive end, but it starts with not setting yourself up behind the sticks on first down. You cannot allow sacks like that to knock yourself out. Boise is able to capitalize.
Colton Boomer puts the PAT through. The Broncos lead early at home, 7-0. You're listening to UNLV football here on Rebel Sports Network. Six plays, 60 yards, and the Broncos punch it in for 7. First down efficiency is going to be crucial in this game. Coach Mullen spoke about it earlier in the week at the press conference that the playoff committee values first down efficiency more than turnover margin, and we saw it here early that the Broncos didn't do great on the first set of downs on first down, but eventually were able to get it going and punch it in for 7.
Yeah, and this UNLV defense is going to have to be aggressive. Paul Gunther is going to have to change up his looks and make sure that these defensive backs put hands on a man and they play more bump and run today. You don't want this Boise State Boise State offense to get comfortable and be able to make so many passes because of off-man coverage. UNLV is second in the nation in forcing turnovers with 14. All that is due to rushing quarterbacks and making them make decisions that they don't want to make. That happens when you're able to have guys like Amaris Brown get after the quarterback from the nickelback position. Chief Borders from that defensive end position be able to put pressure on the quarterback. You need those plays in a game like this. Those plays can turn the game in UNLV's favor, and that's what we've been able to see so far in the season.
In their first drive, the Rebels sacked for a loss of 7. First and 10 here at their own 25. Let's see how this result goes. Calandria escapes, running left, using his legs, picks up the first down and a little bit more, somersaulting forward for the first down.
And sticky coverage on the outside by Boise State and their defense. Their defensive backs are going to be way better than what we saw last week against Air Force. Anthony Calandria was able to do a great job of giving the ball to his receivers. Today, there's going to be a lot of instances where he's going to have to call his own number. Right there, he goes through all of his progressions, gets out of bounds is the biggest part. They need him in this football game.
A gain of 15 there on first down. And it's now first down and 10 at the 40. Jet Thomas breaking tackles, unable to go down. The will to pick up 5 yards. What a display there by Jet Thomas.
Jet Thomas showing the explosive athleticism and the ability and the willpower to not let not one, not two, but 3 defenders tackle him in the backfield and take a play that would have been a 2nd and 11, a negative play off of stiff arms. He's able to make that play a 6-7 yard gain for the UNLV Rebels. That is an amazing job by Jet Thomas, being able to show why, again, he's the leader for this team. He is not going to allow Corey Dennis to get away from his play sheet. Beautiful play right there by Jet.
Thomas currently sits tied 5th all-time in UNLV career rushing touchdowns with 25. And the carry here for the Rebels is Kevon Lee for a gain of 4, making it 3rd and 1.
Kevon Lee right there showing that he is, again, going to be a part of this running back committee. Even when Jet Thomas is out of the game, you're still going to have him be an option for this offense. Right there, Corey Dennis to settle down the troops, goes back to the run, setting up 3rd and 1. He has options here. You know they are going to be aggressive with this field position. Let's see what UNLV can cook up here on this play.
Lee last week, 6 carries, 59 yards, and 1 touchdown. He had a long carry of 22 last week. He gets the ball here, picks up the first down inside Boise State territory for a gain of about 5.
Nice, simple play call by Corey Dennis. Right there, you would be thinking that he was using some of that Madden coach suggestions. Right there on that play, you understand the down and distance. You understand the offensive line that you have, and you use your big back in Kevon Lee to pick up the hard first down. He's able to pick up 4 yards out of that play, keep those chains moving. If that's what the committee wants to see for this UNLV Rebel football team to get ranked, that's exactly what they're going to do today.
1st and 10 with just 9 minutes to go here. Calandria dancing in the pocket, goes deep across the middle, overthrown, intended for Jaden Bradley.
UNLV trying to use a little bit of that play action pass, having that run play on the last play. What do? They have the entire offensive line shift to the left side of the field. They try to get Jaden Bradley on a post route going across the middle. There is some contact and a defensive back impeding his ability to run up the field. That was Mickey again, but unfortunately the refs didn't see anything out of that play. 2nd and 10 for the Rebels.
0 for 2 passing for Calandria. Connects one here. Thomas in the flat, trying to make something out of nothing. Breaks the tackle and gets back to the line of scrimmage. And it'll be 3rd and long for the Rebels here.
That's another good job by this Boise State defense coming from that linebacker position. You have them stopping that running back screen and understanding where the football is. Now you're setting up a 3rd and long. If you're UNLV, you have to understand, yes, we did not get where we wanted to get to on 1st and 2nd down. But if you're Anthony Calandria, you don't want to put the ball in harm's way and potentially set yourselves up to be down even more in this football game. Take what the defense gives you and then let Corey Dennis decide if you're going to go for it here on 4th down.
3rd down here. Quick screen for Earl. He's blown up behind the line. A loss of 1 there. It's Mickey, the redshirt junior from Eastvale, California, making the play.
Jaden Mickey so far today is doing his best Amaris Brown impression. We've seen him all over the football field today from that nickelback spot, and he's able to show his versatility, getting past the block on the wide receiver screen, trying to give JoJo Earl the ball out in space and allow him to make plays happen. What does he do from the defensive back position? He wraps up, makes a great form tackle, and sets up a 4th and 11. UNLV is going to have to punt the ball once again on this drive.
Cam Brown punted the ball only twice last week, and in 2 possessions and 2 drives, he punts twice here. We're going to step aside here. The Broncos lead 7-0. Matson Maddox will be on the field next. The Broncos lead the Rebels 7-0 on the blue. They have 15 consecutive straight wins. A win here today would make it 16, which is tying Alabama for the longest active winning streak in the nation. And Madsen taking the field here at the own 13. Shotgun formation here. Handoff up the middle and brought down for a gain of 3. Good tackle there by Atalaya.
Right here, another great tackle. And what UNLV's defense and Paul Gunther is going to want to do is what they've been able to do on the second drive now for Boise State. You want to set them up for long second downs because that's going to make them desperate and make them have to pass the football, get them out of that running game, setting up now a 2nd and 7.
Madsen 1 of 3 for 26 yards through the air. Great success on the run game so far. Riley in the backfield, 2nd and 7 at the 16. Looking across the middle and completes it to Ben Ford, who was shaken up after the play. He got hit on his lower extremities, and he is down. So we're going to step aside here. Stick with us on Rebel Sports Network. Ben Ford, the injured player for the Broncos, able to walk himself off. Fortunately, to see him there doing that, he was unable to hold on to the ball, so it'll be third down for the Broncos. Hope Ford is okay, but a huge opportunity here for this UNLV defense.
Big break right here for this UNLV defense. Ben Ford is going to be the number 2 option when it comes to wideouts on this team. He's going to be missed if Boise State is going to miss him in this football game, but UNLV needs to put the pressure on the quarterback here on this play.
Riley in the backfield, less than 10 on the play clock. Madsen, snap, pressure, sacked on third down. What a great play there by Touchet Adelea, holding it down on third. It's going to be fourth down.
Paul Gunther, what does he go right back to? He sends the pressure, and right here, this is when the best meets the best, and your guy wins. He's able to use the swim move, get outside of the offensive lineman's frame, and Adeleye was able to get right to the quarterback. And if they are going to want to be successful, they have to make sure that Madsen is not comfortable in this pocket. The guy has a baseball background. That's part of his name. Both his first name and his middle name are odes to baseball players. They are going to make sure that he does not sling the ball efficiently today. They need to keep it up, keep the pressure on him. Great play call by Paul Gunther right there.
An 8-yard loss results in a punt, and Irvin fair catches it. And the Rebels will take over with great field position.
Amazing field position right here for the Rebels, and they have to capitalize. You want to get on the board, and not even if it isn't a touchdown, you still want to be able to get some points on the board. We've seen Ramon Viela be able to be very efficient so far on the season when it comes to kicking field goals. All Anthony Calandria has to do is get that guy in field goal range, and he is going to be able to knock it down. But you know Corey Dennis wants to get points on the board in a football game like this, of this magnitude. Let's see what they can cover up here on 1st and 10.
Rebels 1st and 10 at their own 45. Wrap around to Irvin. He gets back to the line of scrimmage, no gain.
Great job right there by the Boise State defense, understanding that wherever the football goes, you need to see ball and hit ball. They were able to stay right on top of that orbit motion from the wide receiver coming out of the backfield, getting that football, and they were able to make a sure tackle, setting up a 2nd and 10. Let's see what UNLV can do here on this play. Corey Dennis, again, lean on your stars. You have Jaden Bradley here for a reason. Let's see what they can cook up here.
5:45 remaining in the first quarter. Calandria forced out right. He's going to use his legs again. Picks up the first down inside Boise State territory. But there's a flag on the play in the secondary. We're going to see what that potentially is.
Potentially could be a holding call going against the Rebels, and we've seen how penalties have affected this team. We've seen a lot of penalties against Air Force last week that negated a lot of the big plays that UNLV could have had in that game and made it a more difficult steep. If they want to win this game today, they're going to have to play very clean football.
Holding call on Boise State. Referee Nolan Dumas gives us the call there. Attack on some extra yards. And a successful 2nd down there for the Rebels.
And right there on the outside, you have Troy O'Meara and the defensive back playing just a little bit too physical, getting hands-on. When you're having a guy like that, Marion McCoy, you have to understand that the quarterback, yes, may be looking down the field, but if you have your pressure from the defensive lineman, you just have to play good bail technique coverage. Unfortunately, he got too grabby, giving UNLV a free first down on that play.
Now the Rebels 1st and 10 inside Boise State territory for the first time today. Play action and a pre-snap penalty here. This one is going to be called back.
And right here, if you're UNLV, you just capitalize on a penalty. And what do you do to start this drive? You start with a false start that is going to set your offense back. You don't want to do that because it messes up your rudder. It messes up the flow of the offense and what you're trying to do. Now you're setting yourselves up in a situation where it's 2nd and 20, 2nd and 15, and you're having to be a little bit more daunting than you would have liked if you could have had a simple 1st and 10 setting up a good play call here.
The play before this, a 22-yard carry by Calandria. Tack on the 10-yard holding penalty was a 32-yard gain. They back it up now 5 at the Bronco 28. 1st and 15 here. Lee in motion. The handoff to Lee. Tries to get outside. Breaks the tackle. Cuts back in. And makes it back to the line of scrimmage. Great pursuit there by this defense. Tackled by number 53, Marco Notriani.
Right there, Johnnie doing a great job from that linebacker position, not beating one, not beating two, but beating three blocks to get to the running back. But if Kevon Lee was able to get outside, Nick Elson has had a great block on the outside trying to give him an ankle. But this Boise State defense today so far has been rallying to the football with great attention to detail, and they've done a great job so far setting up 2nd and 15 here for the Rebels.
Coy Moore in formation. Calandria looking. Pressure, finds Moore, outside far. He's got the breaking tackle and makes this something out of nothing. And is now 3rd and manageable here for the Rebels. A pickup of 13 by Moore.
What a great job by Anthony Calandria and Coy Moore being able to understand that as a wide receiver, I sometimes, when the ball is in my hands, I have to turn into a running back. Right there, he's doing his best Jet Thomas impression, not letting two defenders get him, and able to set up a 3rd and manageable right here for the Rebels. And once again, we've seen the depth of this Rebel offense in the wide receiver core. When guys are having their numbers called, stepping up, right there, Coy Moore with a big catch and pickup right there for the Rebels.
The senior transfer from Kentucky making a big play there, and this play is blown dead before it even starts. It's going to be a false start on UNLV.
And once again, we have the Rebels, and a stat just came up. Again, the Rebels are 7th most in penalties in the country so far. That is not what you want for a football team when you're trying to make it and you're trying to win on the road against Boise State after you just had a great play to set yourselves up for a 3rd and 2. Now you're setting up a 3rd and 7. You're letting this Boise State defense off the hook and allowing them to dictate what they want to do in this football game. You want to be the ones that are going to be the aggressors and what you're trying to do with your team. Corey Dennis is going to have to set up some type of spread look to hit this 3rd and 7 and potentially get this first down. If not, UNLV is going to have to settle for 3 on this drive.
5 seconds to go on the play clock. Empty formation. Calandria, 5 rushing him. Throws across the middle. Incomplete pass. Unable to connect.
Right there, again, spread out, man-to-man across the board, and all Anthony Calandria had to do was find the look that he likes. Right there in the slot, you have Coy Moore just running a simple slant route, and Jeremiah Irby, the senior from East Palo Alto, California, doing a great job in coverage, understanding where his leverage was, not letting the wide receiver get inside of his frame, setting up 4th and 7 here for the Rebels.
That was actually Quandarius Keys, the defensive back for the Rebels, stepping in on the other side. And from 38 yards out, Ramon Viella, consistent as always, puts it through. The Rebels finally get on the board, and they trail 7-3. You're listening to UNLV football here on Rebel Sports Network. Welcome back to UNLV football here on Rebel Sports Network. Wyatt, Touchet, and Johnnie Graves on the call. 3:12 to go. The Rebels trail 7-3 in Boise, Idaho, on the big blue field.
And so far today, we've seen, again, what penalties have done to this UNLV offense. When it happens for this team, it derails what they want to do. We've seen Coy Moore with a great play setting up a 3rd and 2. And what does that happen? Because of a penalty, it gets derailed, setting up a 3rd and 7. Anthony Calandria has to force the ball to Quandarius Keys in empty formation in coverage. And unfortunately, he's not able to pick up that first down. UNLV has to settle for 3 here.
And now Maddox Matson coming out to the field. You had mentioned, partner, earlier that he's named after 2 big legends, Greg Maddox and Derek Jeter. Jeter being his middle name, so Maddox, Jeter, Madsen. And his whole family is named after baseball
all
players.
His siblings, all of them.
So many different names that we can delve into, but we won't. So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Broncos at their own 25. Madsen in shotgun formation. A little trickery here, looking right, near sideline, connects, first down for the Broncos. Brought down near the 40. Great completion there for the Bronco offense.
Great route by Demetric Whitlock right there, running a blaze out, and almost like a comeback route, but he's able to get to the top of his stem. And we're talking about Maddox in that baseball background. Right here, right now, we are able to see the kind of arm that this guy has. When he's rolling out, he definitely looks like a shortstop trying to make that double play, trying to get the ball out to his guys, and he's doing a great job so far. They did a great job on play action.
1st and 10 at the 39, under center, handoff to the left side, and brought down after a gain of 7 or 8 there by Gaines.
Right there, Sire Gaines. And when you're able to pass the ball so efficiently like that and utilize that play action pass, it makes those linebackers a little bit more hesitant for UNLV, understanding where the ball is actually going. Is Maddox actually going to be pulling the ball out, or is he going to be keeping it?
2nd and 3 for the Broncos at their own 46. Play action, rolls out right, looking, pressure in his face, connects inside UNLV territory and brought down at the 35. Catch and run there by Chris Marshall, the redshirt junior from Missouri City, Texas.
And this Boise State offense is moving the ball efficiently and has UNLV's defense at their will right now. Paul Gunther is going to have to set up something for this defense when it comes to putting pressure on these receivers. They are having a lot of free releases and are getting wide open for Madsen to hit and nickel and dime this defense today.
Chris Marshall with over 300 yards receiving this season. And a little trickery around the side, left side far, running inside the 10, and he's in. Touchdown Broncos, Cameron Bates.
And this Broncos offense is able to get in the end zone once again. And what a beautiful play call and design by their offensive coordinator, Nate Potter, being able to have this motion offense and flip the ball outside to your wide receiver on an end around, have the defense going one way, go the complete opposite way. And this Boise State offense, with this whole crowd on their backs, they are rolling here right now in Idaho. And this UNLV defense is going to have to respond in the next drive, and UNLV's offense is now going to have to spread the ball around and keep this thing moving before this game gets out of hand.
Bates with a 35-yard reverse for a house call. 3 drives, 2 touchdowns for the Broncos. They lead 14-3 with 1:14 to go here on Rebel Sports Network. Boise State Broncos last drive, 4 plays, 75 yards, just under 2 minutes time of possession to put up 7. They lead 14-3 here with a minute 14 to go in the first quarter.
And this Boise State offense today has been comfortable. They haven't had, outside of 1 sack, they haven't had a lot of pressure from Maddox Madsen to be able to be uncomfortable. If Paul Gunther and this defense want to be able to stay within this football game and give themselves a fighting chance, they're going to have to deploy the defensive backs that we've seen make plays so far this season. They're going to have to play man-to-man coverage. They're going to have to shore up this defense and not allow the play-action pass game to make these linebackers get downhill and not be in the correct zones where they need to be. That is why we've seen so many chunk plays in the passing game so far today.
I mean, this isn't unfamiliar territory for the Rebels.
No.
Earlier this season, they've started off in a deficit 10-0 against Idaho State, 14-0 against Miami of Ohio, and last week 21-10 against Air Force as a 3-yard gain here for the Rebels on first down. This isn't uncharted territory for them. They've been able to navigate it before, but against a team like Boise State, you hate to see this deficit early in the first.
Exactly why. You took the words right out of my mouth. When you're playing a team the caliber of Boise State that has played a lot of high-level football, playing in the college football playoff just last year, this football team is not a team you want to go and have a 10-point deficit to and make mistakes against.
And a run here for a gain of about 6. Brings it 3rd and short there. Good run there by Thomas, making something happen and using his legs to get it done.
And right there, sometimes you have to, again, lean on the guys that have got you to this point, got you to 6-0. Jet Thomas right there, using his blockers and understanding that I can be patient and allow myself to run through the hole. He's able to do that right there on that play.
3rd and 1 here. Handoff up the middle, and he's going to be stopped short. A stout defensive front by Boise State. And that's going to take us to the end of the first quarter. The Broncos lead 14-3 at home here on Rebel Sports Network. Start of the second quarter here. The Rebels are forced to punt. A slow start in the first quarter. They are trailing 14-3. Cam Brown punting here on 4th and 1. Dropping that back near the 21. A muffled grab there by the returner and is brought down near the 20. A good stop there for the special teamers. But we now see Maddox Matson once again for this Bronco team.
And this Bronco team catching a big break right there on that special teams play. You have Sherrod fumbling and bobbling the pickup right there on the punt return. And UNLV almost got their 15th turnover on that play. But what a great job by that special teams unit. We've seen them make plays 2 weeks ago, and they were able to get 2 touchdowns for this team. Now this UNLV defense has to put pressure on Madsen and has to play sticky coverage on the outside and not allow him to be comfortable.
1st and 10 for the Broncos at their own 21. Fires far sideline. Miscommunication there, well over his head. And it's going to be 2nd down.
And like I said, UNLV coming out on the first play and Paul Gunther calling man-to-man defense across the board with these defensive backs. You have to allow them to play bump and run and allow them to stay in press technique because it's going to make Madsen either have to flush the pocket or stay in the pocket and get sacked.
Quick pass here towards the outside. The previous pass was to Penry, and he now connects with Chase, the redshirt senior from Denver, Colorado. Pick up a gain around 9, and to make it 3rd and 1.
And right there, just a simple, easy, quick read. And what a great play call by Potter, being able to understand that, yes, the UNLV is going to try to play man-to-man, but if they are going to go back to off coverage, I'm going to take the quick read to the outside and allow my receiver to make a play.
Big 3rd down here at their own 30-yard line, under center. Madsen, handoff, 1st down and a little bit more. Good run there by Sire Gaines.
And all of that play starts with this offensive line opposing their will on this defensive line for the UNLV Rebels. They did a great job of being able to get to the 2nd level and allow Sire Gaines to follow his blocks, try to go through the hole, and pick up the line to gain. This Boise State offense is feeding off of this crowd and playing with a lot more juice and momentum than the Rebels are today.
Now 1st and 10 at their own 36. Caples in motion. Madsen intended there for a tight end screen, but blocked down by Atalaya. We've said his name multiple times today. He's having a good outing here.
Atalaya right there in the backfield, understanding that I need to use my big frame and not allow this tight end screen to get to the outside. Right there, Boise State tried to use a little bit of that tight end delay, get him a play. But what does he do from his defensive end position? He has his hands up almost like a basketball player, being able to deflect that ball, get in the passing lane, and set up a 2nd and 10 for the Rebels.
Pass intended for Matt Lauder, the redshirt senior. And about a 3-yard carry here for the Broncos. It's going to make it a 3rd and long.
Good job right there by Mumu Ben Wahad. And you see him. He is the opposite nickel cornerback when UNLV goes to that dime package where they have both him and Amaris Brown on the football field. And what a great job by him, understanding that Sire Gaines was going to be the guy he needed to meet in the run fit. He's able to do a great job of wrapping up and making sure that he got down there for that tackle.
Can the Rebels get off the field on 3rd down? The Broncos have converted 2 of 3 so far today. Madsen fires, incomplete, no, intercepted, going the other way. Falls to the hands of LaTerrence Welsh, and the Rebels will take over for their 15th overall turnover this season.
And this play does not happen without the star of the defense, Amaris Brown in the nickel, being able to play great coverage. And what is the name of the game for this UNLV defense we've seen so far? Tips and overthrows and capitalizing and making turnovers. That is now the 15th turnover for this defense that has had a now 10-1 turnover margin on the season. What a great play when UNLV needed it the most to give this offense great field position and great time management right here by the Rebels with 12:55 left in the 2nd quarter.
The Rebels have had 59 interceptions since 2022, the most in college football. And you take a look at that play, Amaris Brown deflects it off of his hand across the middle, and LaTerrence Welsh diving effort before it touches the blue and is able to turn it over here. So the offense takes over a 1st down run for a gain of 1. It is now 2nd and 9. The Rebels inside Boise State territory. Calandria quick to the far side. Connects. Brought down at the 39 is Day-Day Reynolds.
Great job right there by Day-Day Reynolds being able to extend his body out. Anthony Calandria understanding that, yes, they are playing off man-to-man, so what am I going to do? I'm going to hit Day-Day Reynolds on a 5-yard stop route. Just basically a curl. I'm going to give my wide receiver the ball to the outside where only he can get it. But going back to that play with Amarius Brown, all of that happens because of Paul Gunther calling man-to-man on that play.
3rd and 3 for the Rebels. Lee swallowed up behind the line. The defense had some life, but the offense showing none here.
And right there, that was a bad job by Anthony Calandria. And you see him and Nick Elsonis making each other and having a conversation. Anthony Calandria gave the ball up too early and did not allow Elsonis to be able to make that crackback block. And now UNLV with a big play call here on 4th and 4 to try to give their offense some life and some juice here.
Spread shotgun formation. The Rebels on 4th and 4 at their own 40, and a pre-snap penalty is going to be a false start on the Rebels, a costly one at that.
And right here, we've seen this UNLV time again. This team shoot themselves in the foot and not allow themselves to make plays when they need it the most. Right there, if you're UNLV, you have to understand, yes, we have a big play. Yes, there's a big down, but we can't have motion from our left tackle that is going to negate what we're trying to have going on. The Boise State crowd is definitely going to be a factor in this football game, and it's going to rattle this team. If you played a little bit of college football, Wyatt, you see when you're going on the road, there is a stadium pulse. It is going to make you a little bit more antsy, make you a little bit more jumpy. Now this Rebel football team is knocked out of field goal range and cannot put some points on the board. That is a misfire for this UNLV offense.
Albertson Stadium is known to be the best, and a fumble on the punt recovered by Elksness. And it is Rebel ball inside the 20. Excuse me there. Just talking about how great this crowd is. A great play for the special teams of UNLV. Every other phase has been going so well. It comes off the face mask of their returner.
Malik Sherrod again with another bobble. You have a guy that bobbled the last punt that he got on that previous possession. Right there, you have Christensen having the wherewithal to not touch the punt returner at all and allow that to not be a flag for the Rebels, but a positive play. Their 16th turnover now on the year.
So now it's 1st and 10 for the Rebels. Calandria, keeper to the outside, far, and is brought down for a loss of 1 there. Tackled by Benefield.
Right there, Benefield, the leader for this defense from that safety position, doing a great job of tracking Anthony Calandria down. He has a lot of the frame of a Derwin James. When you're looking at this guy, he's able to move around in this defense, and they're going to ask a lot of him. But he comes 15 yards deep from that safety position and does not allow Anthony Calandria to get outside of his frame like we've seen him do with his legs time and time again.
2nd and 11, trips right, shotgun formation. Calandria to the flat. Thomas cuts back inside, but unable to get past the defender. Pick up a gain of 4 or 5.
Right there for the Boise State Broncos. Zion Washington, the redshirt senior from Frisco, Texas, using all 6'1" and 214 pounds to get Jet Thomas down on the ground. We have very rarely seen Jet Thomas get taken down by one defender, but right there he's able to use both of his arms, wrap up, and make a great sure tackle. UNLV, big 3rd and 7 here to potentially get this first down and stay within the red zone.
3rd and manageable, less than 10 minutes to go. Rebels need this one badly. Calandria forced out right, looking, gonna use his legs, gets the first down, maybe more. Waiting the call, is he in? Diving effort, still no ruling on the field. An acrobatic play, an athletic play by the Ant-Man. Calandria diving in, he looks like he's in. We still have no signal here from the referees.
And right there, Ant-Man calling his own number, calling his own name, and we've seen what he can do with his legs when it's time to make a play, but it looks like he is going to be out around the 4-yard line, but he did pick up the line to gain and where he needed to get to. Amazing play by Anthony Calandria, being the leader for this football team, the quarterback showing his versatility as a dual threat in this offense.
Calandria, 62 yards on the ground last week for 2 touchdowns. An absolutely versatile quarterback, and we are seeing it on display, putting this offense on his back, trying to make something happen. And there's a flag on the play against the defense for personal foul. Dan Mullen trying to get Troy Omire under control after a physical altercation between him and a defensive player. Got away with that one. Trying to keep this team under control and keep their poise as they have an opportunity to make this a one-score game on 1st and goal at the 3.
This is a big situation here for the Rebels if they want to stay in this football game and stay successful. They need to punch this in for 6 and keep themselves within striking distance. They've had 2 plays go their way. They need to convert here.
So they mark Calandria down at the 1. Even though the replay showed us the 3, referees put him down at the half-yard line. 1st and goal. Thomas in the backfield. Handoff. Jet. He's in. Touchdown Rebels, and he sits alone 5th all-time for career rushing touchdowns here today. And with that run, he is also over 2,000 yards on the ground for 7th all-time alone.
And Jet Thomas able to fuel himself right through the middle of that defense and get straight into the end zone. And all of that is, again, because of the penalty play call on Boise State Broncos with that personal foul, being able to not only have Anthony Calandria, who was out at the 4-yard line, but now you have him going down to the 1 because of that penalty. That is what Boise State did not want in that situation, and UNLV taking advantage of turnovers and keeping themselves in that football game. They did a great job of staying composed, understanding what they needed to do to put 6 on the board for the Rebels today.
A fumble off the punt return turns into a 4-play 16-yard drive for a 1-yard rush by Jet Thomas. The Rebels bring it within 1 score with 9:33 remaining here on Rebel Sports Network. A historic day for Jaden Thomas. He now sits 5th alone all-time in UNLV career rushing touchdowns with 26, and he now sits 7th all-time in career rushing yards with 2,021. after that 1-yard carry for a touchdown there, Johnny. It's now 14-10. This is now a ball game here in Boise, Idaho.
And UNLV, again, being able to capitalize on the turnover by the Boise State Broncos, allowing them to stay in this football game, that is how you not only rally your football team, but you quiet out this crowd. This crowd has been jumping so far for the Boise State Broncos, and if you want them to stay out of this football game, you have to be able to quiet this crowd, understand that when you have plays like that, you're going to keep yourself in this game. You're going to not only do that, but you're going to give your defense life. This defense has had a lot of time to be able to rest, recover. Paul Gunther, I need to continue to see man-to-man defense across the board. Allow your defensive backs to continue to make plays like they have all season. Laterrence Welch with his 3rd interception on the year.
And the return here for the Broncos brought down near the 24 for a return of 21 yards. So that's where Maddox Madsen will come back out onto the field and lead this Bronco offense.
And Maddox Madsen, 4 of 10 so far on the day, 68 yards. But a lot of what we've seen so far from this team has been because of the play-action game. And not only has the play-action game been successful for Maddox Madsen and what this offense wants to do, but it's also opened up the running game. And that's when you're able to have plays like their last touchdown, when they were able to use the jet motion and have a wide receiver come around from the end around. Those plays are all due to the play-action game and making this UNLV defense not know where the ball is actually going on the football field today.
The Rebels' last drive, 4 plays, 16 yards, and a total time of possession, 128. We're going to step aside here. There's an injured Rebel on the field. Stick with us. Welcome back to UNLV football here on Rebel Sports Network. Malik Sherrod with the 21-yard return on the kickoff. An injured Rebel was down. Now the Broncos will start their drive at the 24-yard line.
And for the Broncos offense, we've seen them be successful today when they've been able to go to the run. I want to see them do that. When they've set themselves up for 2nd, 3rd, and longs, that's where they haven't been successful. They want to be able to run the ball and be able to set up a manageable 2nd and 6, 2nd and 5. That's what's going to open up that play-action pass again for them.
So now 1st and 10 at their own 24. The pitch out to the near side. Got a lane. He's going. One man to beat. Misses him. And is brought down from a far side defender, Laterrence Welch, bringing down Dylan Riley, but not after a huge pickup for this Bronco offense.
And like I said, what do they go back to rally the troops, get this crowd back into the football game? They go right back to the run. Right there, you have Madsen simply on a simple push, and they're able to get that offensive lineman, and he's able to get out into space. They have him pulling. Not only do they have him pulling, but they have the rest of these offensive linemen, the guards, getting to the second level, meeting those linebackers, and it's off to the races for Riley doing his best Ashton Genty impression. If it wasn't for Latarius Welsh getting that interception on that last drive, coming down, trying to ball hawk and get after the running back, we will be saying Riley for 6 right now, and another big lead for this Boise State offense.
63-yard run by Dylan Riley, 1 yard short of 100, and Amaris Brown is down and injured on the field. He was able to walk himself off. He missed one game earlier this season. Hope to see him well and okay and able to return to this game.
And it's going to have to be next man up mentality if we do see Amaris Brown out for an extended period in this football game. That means defensive back Mumu Ben Wahad is going to be put into that nickel position if they are in their base defense. If they are on the dime, they're going to have to look at Trey Fulton and the rest of these safeties, these hybrid players to play better. But if UNLV wants to be successful, they're going to have to do a better job of defending the run game. It is a three-headed monster for this Boise State offense between Riley, Sherrod, and then also their other running back, Sire Gaines. And UNLV is going to have to do a better job of filling the run fit, doing a better job of getting in those gaps. We've seen how the run devastated them last week against Air Force.
Now it's 1st and 10 for the Broncos at the UNLV 11. Penry in motion, pitches out to Sherrod, cuts back in, trying to make something, but a loss of 2 there, swarmed by Rebels. Good defensive stop there by UNLV.
Great job by UNLV understanding where the ball wanted to go on that play and making Sherrod have to cut to the middle of the field. And Jalen Lee, the defensive tackle, being able to understand where his leverage is and also where his teammates were, allowing them to rally to the football, setting up a 2nd and 12 here for the Rebels. Great job on first down.
8:40 to go here in the half. Under center is Madsen. Play action, looking right. Pump fakes, gets the pass off. No, he's going to use his legs. And he's inside the 10, brought down at the 9 for a gain of 3.
Good job by this UNLV defense, especially Spellman coming from that linebacker's position, not allowing Madsen to get outside the pocket. And like we said before in this game, we've seen Madsen have a lot of a similar skill set that Anthony Calandria has. Both of these quarterbacks are going to be exceptionally well at when the play breaks down and they need to get out of the pocket, trying to make the most of their opportunities. But here on 3rd and 7, it is a clear passing down. UNLV needs to get off the field on defense and settle for 3 points here for the Broncos.
Madsen on 3rd and 7, trips left in shotgun formation, and the play is blown dead, but it's going to be a timeout for the Rebels on 3rd and 7. We're going to step aside here. Big 3rd down coming up on the other way. Thanks for sticking with us here on Rebel Sports Network. It is 14-10, and it's a huge 3rd and 7 here for the Boise State Broncos inside Rebel territory on the 9. Madsen, shotgun formation, trips left, surveys the field, looking across the middle, connects, diving, he's in! Touchdown Broncos, and it's Latrell Caples, the 6th year from Lancaster, Texas.
And right there with an impressive play call by Nate Potter to use a mesh concept. When you're in the red zone like this, you want to have confusion for these linebackers and defensive backs. And right there, UNLV's defense was supposed to pass off the offensive player, the wide receiver coming across the middle, because he is running a drag route. When you have multiple players running crossing routes, it's going to confuse the defense. defense. Caples was able to get wide open, get into the end zone, and Madsen able to put the ball right on the money, right on his numbers. He's able to jump in the end zone. Touchdown for the Broncos.
Caples' first reception of the game comes by way of a touchdown. 4 plays, 76 yards. The Broncos lead 21-10. "45 straight games with 100-plus rushing yards, the second most right now for the Broncos as they lead 21-10 off the touchdown from Maddox to Caples."
And going back to a replay of that last play, when you're having miscommunications on whether we're running man or whether we're running zone, when it comes to passing off receivers, that's not what you want if you're Latarius Wells and these linebackers. Right there, the linebacker expected Blessing. He expected him to be able to pass that player off and hit him into the next zone. Unfortunately, because there's no cornerback in that position, he's able to walk in for a wide open touchdown. And now, Anthony Calandria in this offense, they do not need to put themselves in a desperate situation. Keep playing your brand of football. Allow Jet Thomas to be a part of this team.
And a quick play here to Irvin, pick of about maybe 2. Quick pass there from Calandria.
And right there, Corey Dennis trying to use a simple just wide receiver screen, just a bubble screen to use that as an extension of the run game, second up second and 8, and trying to take advantage of if the corners are going to play off-man coverage, you can eat up a little bit of the yardage in the space that is there. But UNLV is going to have to be efficient and execute on second and long.
Glover in the backfield, Calandria play action, looking, fires far sideline, connects! Inside Boise State territory is Irvin. He steps out of bounds at the 48.
We've seen D'Angelo Irvin do a lot of punt returns, and we've seen him also move around a lot on this UNLV offense. But right there on that play, running a simple sluggo in the middle of the zone, and what is he able to do? Get and find the open space. And Anthony Calandria, with ample time in the pocket and beautiful protection by this O-line, able to give him the ball.
27-yard completion there. Check down to Glover. He trucks a man. Picks up a gain of about 7. And the man he trucked seems to be injured on the field. Looks to be number 6, Jeremiah Irby, the senior from East Palo Alto, California.
And that's going to be a stinger. He's definitely going to feel the next day. Right there, Irby. When you're a defensive back, you don't want to try to hit the offensive player with your helmet, with the crown of your head, because you're going to put yourself in a dangerous situation. That's how we see guys get concussions. Right there, you want to wrap up, find the nearest hip, the nearest leg, trying to make a nice form tackle. He's not able to do that right there, and it looks like he might have potentially concussed himself in that situation. That's going to be a loss for this secondary that has otherwise done a great job against the UNLV receivers today. Let's see what Corey Dennis is going to try to dial up here on 2nd and 5, understanding that they are going to have a substitution at that defensive back position.
2nd and 5 here for the Rebels. They trail 21-10 with 6:35 remaining in the first half. And Calandria here looking to dice something up and show out his talent as he is the reigning offensive player of the week in the Mountain West.
The dude has been an absolute superstar here for the Rebels on a team full of so many transfers and so many moving parts.
Glover in the backfield pitches it outside. Glover trying to get the edge, unable to, and is brought down after a gain of 4 at the 37.
Big play call right here for the Rebels, but I like that decision by Corey Dennis to use that quarterback read option, try to see if the defensive end is going to come to Anthony Calandria. He does. What does he do? Pitch it out to Glover, allow him to use the edge, use momentum and angles. That's all football is about, momentum, angles. Glover is able to try to pick up as many yards as he can, setting up a 3rd and short, but we can't have a similar situation to what we saw earlier with the UNLV Rebels stalling out the drive.
Motion left for the trips. Calandria keeper gets the outside edge. He does! Extends, picks up the first down, and they're going to move the chains here with that extra effort by their star, Ant-Man.
And right there on this play, this entire conversion does not happen if all 11 players on the football field for the Rebels do not block the way that they do. Every man was on a defender and had their hands and on someone to try to pick up the first down for their quarterback, and they call his number. He's able to execute and use his legs once again.
Ball at the 35 inside Bronco territory with ample time. Calandria deep. He's in. Touchdown, Rebels. What a shot there. 35 yards out for Jaden Bradley getting his thriller on.
Jaden Bradley doing his best Michael Jackson impression, and right there, getting in the end zone and absolutely mossing a man. You have Jaden Bradley running a clear over route, using a little bit of hesitation at the top of his stem, and completely getting the ball right at the catch point, right at its highest point, the apex of the football. That's exactly what you want to see if you are a wide receiver up and coming at the elementary school, middle school, high school level. That's exactly how it's going to get done. And Anthony Calandria putting the ball where only Jaden Bradley could get it. What a great play call by Corey Dennis to stretch out this defense, knowing that they were down a defensive back in Irby.
Bradley last week threw a 16-yard touchdown pass to Varquise Gums alongside 3 catches, 73 yards. And this one here, 35-yard touchdown for Jaden Bradley in triple coverage. The Rebels trail 21-17 here on Rebel Sports Network. Welcome back to Rebel Sports Network. The Rebels on that last drive, 6 plays, 75 yards for a 35-yard strike to Jaden Bradley. Calandria 4 for 4, 69 yards through the air. An absolute great drive there to get the momentum back and be able to give the life to the defense once again.
And Anthony Calandria picking right up where he left off against that Air Force defense, doing a great job of allowing his wide receivers to make plays right there. If you're a Florida boy, anybody out there, that was a complete blur by Jaden Bradley, being able to get that touchdown, know that the defensive back was not looking and high pointing the football. The meeting it at its apex is going to make sure that you don't have any bobbles. You don't drop the ball. You don't catch it with your body. He caught it with straight hands. Now, we have a game here in Boise, Idaho. Let's see how the Broncos respond.
And Maddox Madsen coming out for 1st and 10 at their own 25. Open, has a step, completes it inside UNLV territory. Connects there to his receiver, trusty Cameron Bates.
Cameron Bates, we've seen him on the end around be able to get that nice 30-yard run, and right here in coverage in the slot with Amaris Brown. Amaris Brown simply not in the right position, not able to turn his head around to the football, and Bates able to make a great catch with the sun in his eyes, make it a back shoulder catch, and what a great job by Madsen being able to put the ball right where it needed to be.
A 26-yard reception there. Now puts it 1st and 10 at the Rebel 49, and it's Riley getting loose, one man to beat. He's in. Touchdown Broncos, 49-yard run by Dylan Riley.
And right here is a perfect example of complementary football. Nate Potter, what does he do? First play call on the previous play, he airs it out. He goes with the pass. Right there with UNLV's defense reeling on a play like that, what does he call? A simple running back inside zone to the outside. Riley is able to get to the outside, and once again, Ashton Jency talked about before he left Boise State that there is a lot of talent in this running back room, and we have seen it on display today. They are able to use the actual halfback counter to get Riley pulling behind that guard, getting out in space, and UNLV, again, we've seen their problems in the running game, unable to stop him right there, and Anthony Calandria will have to answer this high-powered Broncos offense once again.
Dylan Riley, 5 carries, 149 yards for one house call. Mama, there goes that man. If you're now just joining us, 2 plays, 75 yards for the Broncos in only 45 seconds. A huge run there, 65 yards for Dylan Riley, who has 149 on the day. In total, this offense has 198 in just the first half, 4:24 remaining in the second quarter. The Broncos lead 28-17 at home.
And if you're looking at stats right now, Dylan Riley is averaging 29.8, almost 30 yards a carry in this football game. And it's because of the linebacker play from Marcel McDuffie and the rest of this linebacker room not being able to meet in the gaps and in the run fit. And the defensive line also not being able to hold their own at the line of scrimmage. And that has made for Boise State to not only be able to pass the ball efficiently, but run the ball at will. And we've seen this Boise State offense is not going to let up. They are going to continue to stay on pace, on track. This UNLV offense is going to have to be the catalyst today to keep this team in the football game. But Dylan Riley, what a great show we've seen so far today of him being able to see the holes and make a home run out of it time and time again.
So now the Rebel offense 1st and 10 at their own 25. Calandria Play action, uses his legs, cuts back inside, makes two men miss, out the far sideline, has a lead man, and is brought down and pushed out of bounds at the Boise State 49.
And Anthony Calandria on the sideline getting hyped, showing that he is here to win for these guys. He is not going to go down and out. He goes through all of his reads. That's what you love to see as a quarterback. We don't see Anthony Calandria getting back there looking like he's not going to go through his progressions. He wants to find his receivers. But if nobody's open, number 10 is the number to call, and he's going to make a play when it needs to happen. Great pickup right there for the Rebels.
That 27-yard play puts him at the 48, but Calandria sacked. Brought down by Jaden Mickey, who we've said his name multiple times today, the redshirt junior from Eastvale, California, making his presence known on defense.
Right there, Jaden Mickey coming from that nickel back position. It is a simple nickel blitz. Right there, they have Mickey coming from the weak side, and the offensive line is only supposed to account for what? Linebackers, defensive ends, defensive tackles. Right there, that needs to be Jet Thomas trying to pick him up in pass protection. He's unable to do that. Big sack for the Broncos.
A loss of 12 here. A quick dump off to Elksness. Pickup of 6. And it'll be 3rd and long for the Rebels. A monster play by Calandria is eaten up by a huge sack and an injured Bronco on the field here.
Looks to be Zion Washington here. A little banged up on the play.
And with that, we're going to briefly step aside. Don't go anywhere. Rebel football here on Rebel Sports Network. Thanks for sticking with us here on Rebel Sports Network. Zion Washington, the injured Bronco, able and assisted to get off the field. So now Anthony Calandria on 3rd and 16, trying to pull something out of his magic hat once again with 2:49 remaining in the half.
And we know in this situation, if you're the defensive coordinator for Boise State, in this situation, Eric Chenander is not going to want to allow this defense to pick up this chunk yardage.
Shotgun formation, quick throw near sideline. And it's not going to be enough. Brought down at the 46, Day-Day Reynolds with the catch and run.
Right there, Anthony Calandria just trying to get as much as he can, knowing that in this situation, with going into the 2-minute warning, this Boise State offense is going to be threatening. They are in 4-down territory, and it looks like they may be getting off the field here to actually send out the punt unit.
Calandria Mullen conversating on the sideline. He's patting his chest saying, "My bad." And it's now 4th and 8. But that's going to take us to the 2-minute timeout. The Broncos lead 28-17 in this Titan affair in the Mountain West. You're listening to UNLV football on Rebel Sports Network. Fresh out the 2-minute timeout, the Rebels are going to have to punt here on 4th down. Brown punts this one, hoping to get inside the 10. Unable to, the gunner, Caden McGee, loses track of the ball, and it bounces in the back of the end zone. So this Bronco offense will get the touchback.
And right here, if you're the Rebels, all of that situation, being in that position where you had a 3rd and 16, all of that happened because of that 1st and 10 sack that set you back up 19 yards and not being able to have an efficient game script and not allowing Corey Dennis to call the calls that he would have liked in that situation, in that scenario, knowing that you're down by 11 points in this game. If UNLV wants to win this football game, it's going to have to start on the defensive end and stopping Dylan Riley in this rushing offense.
He has more rushing yards than the whole offense today, 149 to the Rebels 95. His 4th rushing game over 100 yards, and he picks up a gain of 2 there.
Right there, amazing job by Andrew Powdrill coming from that boundary corner side position and filling in the run fit. You have to understand, if you're on the short side, you need to be there.
Madsen looking, pressure, breaks the tackle, rolls out right, fires, ball's loose. Connected with Riley, and it looks like it might be a drop, or they might put him down by contact. And they officially rule it an incomplete, so it's going to be 3rd and 8 for the Broncos here.
And yes, you would have liked to see that be a fumble and a recovery for the Rebels, but still, Amaris Brown with blanket coverage, being able to see the ball and hit the receiver and get in his hands, get in his hip pocket, not allow him to have full control. But you have a minute 27 left. You need to get off the field on 3rd and 8.
7 on the play clock. Shotgun formation here. Time's ticking. 1 on the clock. Madsen barely gets the snap off, but the whistle is blown for a quick timeout by Spencer Danielson, who was not comfortable with how slow that snap came off.
Smart timeout right there by Danielson, understanding that this is a big down in this football game. UNLV's defense is going to be aggressive. They're going to try to get off the field and get this football back to the offense to get them back in this game. But if you're Boise State, you also have to understand you're playing with an 11-point lead with a team in UNLV that has played with fire before and has come out blazing. This team is a team you do not want to give the football back. You want to make a good, smart play call here, and Nate Potter is going to have to figure out what he has in his back pocket to go against this Paul Gunther-led defense.
The Rebels are undefeated coming into this game, and the Broncos are one of 3 Mountain West teams undefeated in conference play. It's now 3rd and 8, minute 27 to go here in the first half. Madsen at their own 22-yard line, spread shotgun offense. Gets the snap, surveys the field, pressure, forced out left, fires near sideline, incomplete, and this defense will be able to get off the field.
And Madsen is going to want that play back. Maybe that goes to some of that height situation that we see from quarterbacks. But he had a wide receiver wide open. His running back actually out of the backfield, simply there at the line to gain. He was wide open. But because of the pressure from the UNLV defense, he was flushed outside of the pocket and had to force the ball out, not put it in harm's way. And now D'Angelo Irvin will be able to await this punt and get this football back to Anthony Calandria to get them points, hopefully, heading into halftime.
Oscar Doyle punting this one back to D'Angelo Irvin Jr., and he'll pin him at the 33. Doyle threw a touchdown pass last week against New Mexico, a 10-yarder, and he had 2 punts last week, averaging 43 there.
Great pass that he had last week, being able to take that muffled, it was supposed to be just a simple field goal attempt. Right there, he was able to pull it out, roll out, look like he had a little bit of Madsen in him and get that touchdown for the Boise State offense. But if you're UNLV on this drive, you need to start the drive off efficient. You do not want to start behind the chains, behind the sticks, because you are now getting an opportunity to potentially get 6 heading into halftime with a minute 15. That's what they need to stay in this football game.
Shotgun left, 4 receivers, a quick screen for Irvin. He makes a man miss. He's got a lane. No one in front of him. It's a track race inside Bronco territory. 20, 10, and brought down from behind inside the 10-yard line. A huge receiver screen going the other way for the Rebels.
Right there, the Rebels come out in almost a empty formation. They have 4 receivers set to the outside, and we have seen this deep wide receiver core do a great job of showing their brotherhood and how they are going to block their tails off for every single receiver in this offense. And D'Angelo Irvin, fresh off that punt return and taking that fair catch, what does he do? He explodes like a cannon out of the backfield, using that wide receiver screen to his advantage and setting up this UNLV offense in the red zone.
First and goal at the 7, intended for Bradley, unable to come down with it, but an incredible 60-yard run and catch and run for Irvin on first down 2 plays ago.
Right there, we have Anthony Calandria one-on-one throwing the ball to Jaden Bradley, his number 1 target, and Jaden Bradley almost able to make a strong hands catch, but Irby with enough wherewithal to get the ball out, setting up a 2nd and goal here for the Rebels. But they have to be efficient on 2nd and 3rd down. You do not want to set up a potential 4th down and not get 6 here. Let's see what Corey Dennis calls here with space in the red zone.
2 timeouts for both teams. 59 seconds remain. 2nd and goal for the Rebels at the 7. Fires far sideline. A little contact and a flag in the backfield finally thrown. Intended for more there. It's going to be pass interference.
Pass interference here on the Broncos, getting there a little bit too early and not allowing Corey Moore to have enough freedom to get back to that football. The Rebels will be lucky for that break. Another instance where penalties have been able to set themselves up and let them have positive plays in this football game.
And the pass interference call is going to be on Ty Benefield. Low grab on the end there. Unable to connect, but it's now first down for the Rebels. 1st and goal.
Just very physical right there by Benefield. And you're a safety. You're not playing down in that nickelback position very often. You're playing a lot of bail technique and playing a deep third. Right there, he's unable to play good man-to-man coverage. UNLV set up 1st and goal.
1st and goal at the 2. Hand off to the right side. Lee trying to get somewhere, but is stopped behind the line. And a quick timeout by Danielson, trying to preserve as much time on the clock as they can so this offense can do a quick minute drill on their end because they get the ball back in the 2nd half.
We've seen how explosive this Boise State offense has been so far today, and I do not blame Danielson understanding the time, the down, and the distance, trying to get this offensive football back, knowing that they're going to have to capitalize offensively if they want to beat this UNLV team today. But I don't like that play call. You have a fresh 1st and goal, and now you're going backwards against this team where you know you need to get points. I would have liked to see Jet Thomas or Anthony Calandria be the guys to get the ball in that situation, get them out in space, and allow them to use the leverage, use angles to get into the end zone.
Now the Rebels on 2nd and goal here. They trail by 11, 28-17. The Rebels have 2 timeouts. Boise State took their 2nd just a moment ago, and 48 seconds remain in the 1st half.
I like to see Corey Dennis here try to spread things out. You are in a 2nd and goal situation, but you also have a lot of different weapons and a lot of guys that you can go to. We've seen Varkey's Gums get that touchdown from Jaden Bradley and seen a little bit of that creativity. There are a lot of weapons and options that Anthony Calandria has at his disposal. It's just a matter of picking the right one when you are in the red zone.
So on 2nd and goal at the 3-yard line, Calandria will be in shotgun formation. Thomas in the backfield, and a false start on this offensive line will bring it back 5.
And mistakes like this is what is going to haunt UNLV if it comes back to bite them in this football game. You cannot allow yourself to get false start penalties in a big down situation like this when you are knocking on the doorstep to get 6. You have to play disciplined football. Right there, we have Elksonis, the tight end, not being set, moving too early. You have to understand, yes, you want to be able to make a good play and be where you need to be on time, but you can't do that at the expense of the offense as a whole.
4 penalties, 20 yards, and all 4 of them were costly and timely penalties. It's now 2nd and goal at the 8. Shotgun formation, and another penalty, or whistle blown dead, rather, before the snap. and the play clock will be reset to 48 seconds on the clock because Boise State took a timeout. It was winding down to 28, so they'll have to reset it and replay second down.
Which in this situation helps both the Rebels and the Boise State Broncos. They're both trying to have enough time to get into the end zone. UNLV, yes, with those 2 timeouts in their back pocket, but Boise State does want to have an opportunity to let Madsen sling the ball down the field if UNLV gets into the end zone within these next 2 plays.
So now replay second down and goal at the Bronco 8. Calandria looking, has to use his legs. Open field ahead. He's in. Touchdown, Rebels. An 8-yard run from Ant-Man to put the Rebels within 1 score.
And right there on that play, you have the entire offensive line looking like they are going to let the floodgates open. And what does Anthony Calandria do? Again, we have Jet Thomas being able to step up, make a big block on the defensive tackle, and give him enough space to make it look like it's a QB draw. No, it's just a simple breakdown within the offensive line assignments. Anthony Calandria, once again, calling his own number, using his legs to his benefit, and getting in for 6 to keep this UNLV football team within striking distance.
Ramon Viella puts it through the uprights, and it's now 28-24. Calandria putting this team on his back.
Today, he has done a fantastic job of quarterbacking this offense and doing everything that he has done to keep them in this football game. And not only with his arm, but with his legs. 9 rushes today for 65 yards and a touchdown. Anthony Calandria, once again, showing that he is the leader for this football team. He is going to be the superstar, and he is going to make plays when they matter most. And Dan Mullen has to be loving what he's seeing so far from his quarterback and the wherewithal to stay within this football game, not make those undisciplined plays, those penalties come back to haunt you, and still be able to get in for not 3, but get in for 6.
5 plays, 67 yards, in only 30 seconds. The Rebels put up 7 to make it a 28-24 game, and it looks like timeouts have been swapped. Might have been UNLV with 1 and Boise State with 2. Even though a moment ago it was flopped. So with that being said, Boise State has 2 timeouts and 43 seconds to go down the field. A couple drives ago, they were able to get down the field in just 45 seconds. Let's see how their minute offense comes out swinging here as they get the ball back in the second half, mind you.
If you're Paul Gunther and the rest of this defense, you have to understand with your defensive backs, they are going to try to throw the ball downfield. They are going to take a shot on first and second down. If it does go their way, they are going to hurry the ball up and they're going to take a timeout. UNLV here, they have to bend but not break. They cannot allow this football team to throw the ball downfield and get into field goal range and put them up 7 and potentially get the ball back at halftime to extend that lead. Paul Gunther is going to make adjustments and on this drive and in the second half, but we need to see them make smart plays here to end the first half.
So they'll start the drive at the 25, hand off to Riley up the middle, chugging his way to the 31.
And it looks like they're going to play things conservative. They're letting the play clock run out, and they're not calling any of their timeouts, understanding where they are on the football field. It looks like Potter is just going to let this ball run out, and they're going to take this 4-point lead in the halftime.
It currently is 2nd and 4 with 17 seconds ticking down, and the Broncos will let it dwindle to 0-0 here. The Broncos lead 28-24 over the undefeated Rebels. More action on the other side. A lot of exciting football here in the second half. You're listening to UNLV Football on Rebel Sports Network. Welcome back inside Rebel Sports Network. You're listening to UNLV football here inside the broadcast booth. Wyatt, Touchet, and Johnnie Graves. The Rebels trail 28-24, and two outstanding guys in this game so far for Boise State. It's Dylan Riley. 7 carries, 157 yards, and 1 touchdown. He has more rushing yards, Johnny, than the Rebels do in total with 102. Now the Rebels, the Scarlet and Gray, Anthony Calandria, a.k.a. Ant-Man, has been putting this team on his back. 165 yards through the air and 64 on the ground with 2 total touchdowns. I mean, you take a look at the score. It's a close game, and it was a matter of just a timely negative play for the Rebels in the first quarter. A field goal that should have been a touchdown was brought back because of a false start on 3rd and 2.
Exactly, Wyatt. And going back to those mistakes, those penalties, UNLV is also very lucky to be in this football game, but it also goes down to them being able to first force turnovers. They have 2 turnovers on Boise State, and I think also going into halftime, I think that was part of the reason why we didn't see Nate Potter be more aggressive on the offensive end when trying to push the ball downfield, because you don't want to give this defense, which is feasting when it comes to making plays and turning over the football. They have been extremely exceptional on that so far this year. I think that went into why they were so conservative heading into halftime. But if UNLV wants to be successful and pull out this game and be able to have themselves at the top of the Mountain West, they have to be able to stop the run. 206 rushing yards in one half of football, that's something that you hear of at the end of a football game, not just in one half. I understand we're in college football and there's going to be adjustments that are going to be made, but Paul Gunther, having that background with the Raiders, working with that team last year, he's going to have to make sure that coming out of this halftime break, they're going to have to do a better job of establishing the run fit, and that doesn't start with the defensive line, the linebackers. That also goes all the way back to the defensive backs getting their nose dirty, coming up and making secure tackles, and also being able to set the edge and not allow Riley and the rest of these running backs to get outside of their frame.
Well, we take a look at this team for the Rebels. You have to credit their mental fortitude, and that goes to head coach Dan Mullen establishing that culture. This week, coming into this game, he was named one of 28 names up for the 2025 Paul Bear Bryant Coach of the Year watch list. This award is given each January to a college football coach for contributing to the game to make the sport better, demonstrating grit, demonstrating integrity, and a winning approach to coaching and life both on and off the field. So when you have a guy like that at the helm leading the program, it is evident time and time again for this season, not only been able to come back from 4 games down, and this could be the 5th one here this season.
And that all speaks to Dan Mullen's experience. When you have a guy coming with the pedigree that Dan Mullen has coming into this team, there's a reason why UNLV is 6-0 throughout all the penalties and mistakes that they've made so far in this football season. But because of Dan Mullen showing that grit, showing that toughness, showing the experience and the wherewithal to keep these guys locked in. We've seen him earlier on in this game rally Troy O'Meara and make sure that he was going to stay composed, stay calm, and understand that there is a lot of football left in this game. Without him being able to be the leader that he is for this football team, I don't think we see Anthony Calandria coming from the University of Virginia excel the way that he's been able to excel without the same type of love and appreciation that he's gotten from his head coach so far and the belief in his players. I think that's the biggest separator that Dan Mullen has been able to give for this football team. He believes in these guys. He believes in with the program and the type of culture that they're trying to build, and that's a big reason why every time you see every press conference, these guys are here, they're having fun, they're making jokes, but they understand that when it's time to put in the work, they put in the work, they put their head down, and what have they done? Win football games.
The Rebels are looking for their first win over Boise State since 1976. And a fun fact for you, Johnny, both programs have shared the former head coach, legendary Tony Knapp, who left both programs as the all-time winningest coach for each side. You know, taking a look at this Boise State offense in the first half, 206 first half rush yards, the most in any first half this season, and they will get the ball here first in the second.
Right here, we need UNLV's defense to come out, and they have to set the tone. They cannot allow this Boise State offense to stay comfortable. You want to continue to see the quarterback, Madsen, be uncomfortable in the pocket, and that starts with pressure. We've seen Adelaide be able to get pressure on the quarterback and make big plays for this UNLV defense, but we haven't heard very much from Chief Borders and the rest of the defensive end and pass rushing unit. They need to be able to put pressure on the quarterback and not allow him to be comfortable in the pocket for UNLV to be successful, and that will stop in turn help stop the run and make sure they are more predictable when it comes to this offense.
Mike Sherrod will bring this one out, unable to be brought down, and officially out to the 40. A great return there to start the second half and bring life back inside the stadium for Boise State on the Big Blue. So, Maddox Madsen, who's had an incredible first half, leading the way and allowing his offensive line to do their work and hand the ball off to Dylan Riley, will now start their offensive drive at the 40.
And right here, UNLV's whole idea to start this first drive on defense, you need to have a big stop on first and second down to force this team to pass the football.
Madsen in shotgun formation, hand off to Riley off the right side, met at the line and brought down by this big back, Isaiah Patterson, swallowing it up at the line of scrimmage for no gain.
And right there to start this first defensive play on this drive, you have Isaiah Patterson coming downhill from that linebacker position, using those long strides, chopping his feet, and being able to wrap up for a tackle, meeting Riley at the line of scrimmage. And that's the physicality that we did not see in the first half. We saw Riley be able to be comfortable and run willy-nilly all over this defense. You want to see this defense continue to be aggressive and show that they are here to fight and are not going to go away easy.
Patterson, the redshirt freshman who transferred from UCLA earlier this year, stands 6'4", 235, using all of that to get him down. And we have an injured Jake Pope Jr. on the field. Hopefully he's able to be healthy and get back on the field. You hate to see him injured as he was on top of his head after making the tackle and assisting Patterson there.
Right there, just some of those plays that happen in football. Unfortunately, Jake Pope getting a little bit shaken up on that play, kind of almost doing a headstand right there. That's not what you want to see from your safety. But again, great job by the Rebels on first down, limiting them to no yards, forcing a second and long.
Setting the tone here early in the second half. Madsen looking, screenplay design, breaking a tackle but unable to get any yardage there. Swarmed by the Rebel defense and brought down for no gain there by Malik Sherrod.
Back-to-back plays now, we've seen Patterson from that linebacker position do exactly what you want him to do. Right there, he's able to make sure that the contain stays set and they do not allow the running back slip screen to get out into space. What a great job by Patterson.
Now a 3rd and long. The Broncos 3 of 6 converting on 3rd down here. Madsen outside. His tight end falls, intended for Matt Wagner, and it's incomplete. A 3-and-out for this offense here in the beginning of the second half.
That is NFL-level adjustment right there by Paul Gunther, understanding that if you are going to be successful in this football game and you want to win this game, you're going to have to play sticky coverage on the outside and make Madsen a pocket passer. They have been doing a great job of using a QB contain on that first drive to keep him inside the pocket and allow and force him to throw the football. When UNLV does that, they're going to be able to put pressure on the quarterback, and it led to a quick 3-and-out for the Rebels. Now it's time to give the star on offense, Anthony Calandria, the football back, with the opportunity to take the lead here in Boise and shush this crowd to start the second half.
And Doyle punts that one back to Irvin, who fair catches it at the 16, and that's where this offensive drive will start. Calandria, 12 of 17, 165 yards through the air, and 171 rating so far in this game. 64 yards on the ground through 9 carries and 2 total touchdowns. He has been absolutely everything and more for this offense, displaying why he's the superhero Ant-Man. He has 229 yards himself. The rest of the offense, 38.
The dude has been absolutely sensational.
So here we go. 1st and 10 at their own 16. Finds Earl quickly. A quick screen for him. Breaks the tackle, carrying the load. And a gain of 9 there on 1st down.
And those are the aggressive play calls that Corey Dennis can use to his disposal to allow this offense to set themselves up for easy 2nd and 1s, 3rd and 1s when you're in that position. But when you're in your own field of play. You want to be able to have explosive plays like that because it opens up what you can do as a play caller.
Now it's 2nd and 1 at the Rebel 25. Shotgun formation here for Calandria. Earl, the motion man from left to right. Handoff up the middle. It's Thomas. He picks up the first down. He now is 5th all-time in UNLV rushing touchdowns in his career. And same goes on the 7th all-time position in rushing yards today.
And right now, Jet Thomas is chasing the Chuck Wagon, who was a big-time running back for this UNLV offense just a couple years ago. But on that last play call, you love to see Corey Dennis understand that I can use the orbit motion out of the backfield, get the defense to believe that we're going right back to another wide receiver screen. Nope, I'm going to give it right to Jet Thomas and let him pick up the easy yardage for a first down.
1st and 10. Trips right formation. Calandria in shotgun going far sideline. Just slightly overthrown there. Intended for Day-Day Reynolds near the far sideline. Unable to complete it there.
Right there, Day-Day Reynolds just simply on a quarter or on a wide receiver fade. Right there, Irby unfortunately was in great coverage, being able to stay in the receiver's hip pocket, have his eyes back to the football, not pick up any pass interference calls, and making sure that the ref left nothing to interpretation, setting up 2nd and 10 here for the Rebels.
12:22 to go. Handoff. Thomas breaks the tackle, cuts back inside, and brought down at the 35.
Great strong running by Jet Thomas, being able to take that inside zone and get to the 2nd level. Every time you see Jet Thomas, he is able to be patient as a running back. He understands both when to be able to use his blockers and be able to take that momentum and slipstream right behind them and try to get to the 2nd level. Big 3rd down and 3 here for the Rebels. They want to be able to convert this and keep this Boise State defense huffing and puffing.
The Rebels struggled in the first half, 3 of 9 on 3rd down. Calandria quickly dumps it off to Thomas. He makes a man miss. Fighting for extra yards. Stiff arms a man. And is he short? Unable to tell. We'll have to check from that line judge. It looked like he had the opportunity to go upfield, but he was trying to get too far east and west. We will wait to see what the official ruling is on where the ball will be spotted.
And I love the idea right there by Corey Dennis. But in that situation, Jet Thomas, understand you have to know where the line to gain is. I understand you trying to make a man miss and get to the first down. But you have to also understand where the defense is and where you need to get to on the football field. UNLV does not pick up that first down, and they're going to have to settle with another 3 and out on a situation where they could have scored another bit of points on that possession.
So now 4th and 1. Bring out Cam Brown, the punter, with less than 11 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter, and they will punt this one back to the Broncos offense. This one dribbling inside the 20. There is a penalty flag on the play, and the Rebel Gunners trying to throw Sherrod into the ball, and that ball will be spotted at the 12-yard line. And a little post-play action will be a personal foul call flag on the Rebel Gunners.
And right there, the Rebel Gunners trying to get Sherrod to touch the football. But you have to play discipline. You do not want to bail out this Boise State offense, especially after you just had a drive where you had a 3 and out. The UNLV has done a horrible job today of being able to make sure that they make smart plays and smart decisions when you need it most. Right there, defensive back Jalen Allen from that gunner position. You don't need. The play is over. You do not need to have a costly personal foul and continue to give Boise State great field position, knowing that the strength of this offense is what? Their running game. So what are they going to go back to after a drive where they were stalled out and they went 3 and out? They're going to lean on this running game once again. But UNLV on that last offensive possession, it has to be about execution. You have the play call right there on 3rd and 1, and you're not able to pick that up. Jet Thomas will want to have that playback, and Dan Mullen will be wanting to make sure that this football team, especially this defense, does not get discouraged. You have to continue to keep up what you were able to do on that first drive, get a stop, and allow this offense to get the football back.
So 2 penalty flags on UNLV, an illegal formation, and a personal foul call. Head coach Dan Mullen is irate on the sideline. The penalty flag for that personal foul is on Jalen Allen, the freshman from Las Vegas, the hometown kid. So we're going to step aside here. When we come back, the Boise State offense will come onto the field. 10:42 remaining. The Broncos lead 28-24 here on Rebel Sports Network. Welcome back to UNLV football here on Rebel Sports Network. Wyatt, Touchet, and Johnnie Graves here on the call. The Rebels trail 28-24, and the Broncos, following a personal foul penalty on UNLV, start at their own 32. Matson going deep down the field. What a catch! Inside UNLV territory, Chris Marshall on the 21-yard line makes an incredible play, but lands on the ball and loses his air there.
Right there, Chris Marshall selling his whole body out to make that catch. And what a great job by Chris Marshall with the defensive back Mumu Ben Wahad all over him, being able to make a catch on the side of his helmet, take the impact from the ground. That is a great job by Marshall, and he's going to be feeling that play for the next couple plays. But what an amazing job. What does Boise State go back to on the first play on their possession? They go back to the play action pass. They threaten and challenge Mumu Ben Wahad and the rest of these defensive backs and get an explosive play out of it.
Knocks the air out of him, injured on the play, but an incredible one nonetheless on first down. 45 yards down the field inside UNLV territory. They will start on this next set of downs at the 23. The Broncos lead 28-24. That's something that we didn't see in that first drive, like with the Broncos on offense. They looked incredible in the first half. The defense responded for UNLV. And now on the first play of this second drive in the second half, absolutely explosive play there.
And they're not able to get shots like that downfield without amazing protection from the offensive line and the running backs and pass protection with those play action passes. And because UNLV is having a big job struggling to get off their blocks today, it's allowed Madsen to be able to have so much time in the pocket to put the ball exactly where only his receivers can get it. And that's exactly what happened on that play. And for Chris Marshall, with Mumu Ben Wahad playing sticky coverage, that's a guy that is going to be very physical. Him being able to not only push off and be able to get enough momentum to still make the catch, but to be able to survive the ground. As a wide receiver, taking not only the hit from the defender, but taking the hit from the turf monster is a big-time play by Chris Marshall. We haven't heard very much of his name today, but that was one of the biggest plays he's made so far in this football game.
This Boise State offense has been spreading the wealth, so to speak, through the air. 7 different receivers have caught the ball from Maddox Madsen, and he is one of those 7. His second catch of the game for 45 yards, 64 total. He now leads the Broncos in receiving yards here today.
And through the air, that's another threat that this UNLV defense has to worry about now. We've heard all the struggles so far from this UNLV defense when it comes to stopping the run. And Paul Gunther is now going to have his work cut out for him if he now has to worry about also his defensive backs getting spread down the field. UNLV is going to have to make some adjustments very, very soon. And it's going to have to start with putting pressure on Madsen and not allowing him to be comfortable in the pocket, because if he does, offensive coordinator Nate Potter is going to have a ton of tricks in his back pocket to keep the ball moving and keep this thing rolling for the Boise State Broncos.
So far in this game, the Rebels have given up 206 yards on the ground, 428 last week against Air Force. They've managed to slow down this passing game, but it starts opening up when you're running the ball effectively. This defense has to step up in order for the Rebels to stay in this game. Looks like Marshall's able to get off the field okay. Just got the wind knocked out of him. So now this offense will come back onto the field. 1st and 10 inside UNLV territory at the 23. The motion man Bates from left to right. Now they hand it off to him. He cuts back up the middle and is brought down near the 20-yard line for a gain of 3.
Nice pursuit there by Mumu Ben Wahad coming from the nickelback position. He was coming on a nickel blitz, and what did he do? He was able to follow the play, get behind the offensive player, and make a sure tackle, setting up 2nd and 7 here for the Rebels.
Less than 10 minutes to go in the third quarter. The Broncos lead 28-24 in the red zone today. 2 drives, 2 touchdowns for the Broncos. 2nd and 7. 2 backs in the backfield here. Madsen. Play action, looking left, designed for gains. Picks up the blocking, and he's in. Walks into the end zone untouched. Sire gains touchdown from 20 yards out.
And a beautiful play call once again by Nate Potter. When you have two running backs in the backfield, that is another person that the defense has to account for in this offense. And what do? They use another delay, have the guards pulling, make it look like they're actually going to run a running back counter. And what do? They give it to Sire Gaines on the simple running back screen. This UNLV defense has been in shambles today. And Paul Gunther, Marcel McDuffie, and the rest of the leaders for this UNLV defense are going to have to continue to try to make adjustments, because what they have done so far has allowed this Boise State offense to be comfortable, and UNLV having that 3-and-out on offense is going to come back to haunt them right now in this football game.
Broncos offense is on fire. 3 plays, 68 yards, a 20-yard touchdown pass to Sire Gaines. They lead 35-24 with 9:38 remaining here on Rebel Sports Network. Thanks for sticking with us here on Rebel Sports Network. The Boise State Broncos lead 35-24 with 9:38 remaining in the third quarter. Their previous drive, 3 plays, 68 yards, and only 64 seconds to put up 7 here in the second half, punching the ball in for the first time in the second half today.
And Boise State offense, they did a great job of responding to the adversity they saw on the first drive with the quick 3-and-out. And what did they do? On the first play, they do a shot to Chris Marshall, who we hadn't heard from very much in this football game, but he is their leading receiver on the season for a reason. He's able to make a beautiful catch with not only his hands, but also holding the ball and pinning it to his helmet. And they were able to capitalize with a running back screen to Sire right there for a touchdown. But UNLV defense, they are going to have to get a stop, another stop to stay in this football game, but the offense is also going to have to be efficient.
1st and 10 at their own 25, handoff up the middle for a gain of 3 is Kavon Lee. This offense has scored 20-plus points in 29 consecutive games, which is the second most in college football, right behind Memphis with 43. This season so far, they've scored 30-plus in each game, and in each game, they've won. And it will be contingent upon Anthony Calandria to be able to show up and show out late in this game. 2nd and 7 here, 9:05 remaining in the third quarter, 10 on the play clock. Quick pass, Irvin, outside, tackled near the line of scrimmage, and the clock will continue to tick for a 3rd and manageable.
And right there, what a great play from number 10, being able to make a great sure-handed tackle right there on the receiver. And he did a great job, Derek Ganser Jr., on that tackle of understanding where his leverage was, where his help was to the outside, and wrapping up. Now, UNLV, 3rd and 6. Corey Dennis, you have to go to your play sheet and call your money play on this down.
Have not heard a lot from Jaden Bradley so far. 3rd and 6 here, 8 on the play clock, barely gets it off. Across the middle, completes it. First down for the Rebels, caught there by Coy Moore for the gain of 7.
And what a beautiful pitch and catch between Anthony Calandria and Coy Moore. And what great job by Anthony Calandria with a free rusher in his face, being able to put the ball right on the money for Coy Moore, picking up a much-needed first down for the Rebels, because if that play does not happen, it is looking very bad for this Rebel offense and the decision-making for Dan Mullen.
Great poise here with less than 8 minutes to go in the third quarter. Handoff off the left side, breaking a tackle, falling forward for about a gain of 8 is Kavon Lee here again.
And I love Corey Dennis understanding that, yes, we are down 11 points, but we don't need to get away from the running game. We still need to have this be a viable option for our offense, because we do not want to become too predictable and put Anthony Calandria in situations where he has to overthrow the football. Love that run there. Nice hard running by Kevon Lee.
It's now 2nd and 2 at their own 45. Quick pass. Connects near sideline, picks up the first down, breaks the tackle inside Boise State territory. Coy Moore showing off his strength here on that catch and run.
And part of that and what UNLV is going to want to do is when you're able to have the wide receiver screen game and potentially the RPO game in this offense, it keeps the defense honest. If they're going to play off-man coverage with their defensive backs and you have wide receivers that block like they play for the San Francisco 49ers, it's always going to be great things happening for this offense.
Play action going deep, far side, overthrows Bradley, incomplete.
Shot play right there by the Rebels trying to get the ball downfield to Jaden Bradley. You had a receiver coming in motion behind Anthony Calandria trying to get the defense to sell out, thinking that they were going with the run or some type of jet sweep to the outside. But Anthony Calandria air mails Jaden Bradley just a little bit outside of his arms because he had double coverage right there. Good coverage by Boise State Broncos on the defensive back secondary.
The second time Calandria has overthrown Bradley today. Now 2nd and 10 at the Boise State 47. Pressure on the outside, and he's brought down by a sack. Number 92, David Latu, is credited with the sack there. Huge second down stop.
And this whole play does not happen without the looping linebacker, Notriani, not getting touched at all. When you have a free rusher like that, being able to keep all the quarterbacks in the pocket, and in this case, Anthony Calandria, he is unable. And all of this happens because of the sticky coverage outside that we've seen from Boise State Broncos and the defensive back unit.
Third time Calandria has been sacked today. 3rd and 19, trips left. Shotgun formation. Calandria has to escape the pressure, using his legs, gets outside, tackle laid out of bounds, no flags. Near midfield, it's going to be 4th down.
And I'm very surprised there that the refs do not call a flag because Anthony Calandria was already heading out of bounds, already getting tackled out of bounds. And unfortunately, this Rebel offense is going to have to settle for another 4th down stop right here. And the Boise State Broncos, if you are their defense, you have to be happy with what you've seen, especially Eric Janander, understanding the down and distance with this secondary, knowing that you can bend, but you can't break, and now they're going to give this potent offense the football back.
5:55 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Cam Brown almost blocked on that punt there. Pins Sharrock at the 11. We're going to step aside. More football action coming your way here on Rebel Sports Network. Welcome back to Rebel Sports Network. Boise State offense is on the field at their own 12-yard line. Matson under center. Handoff. And the Rebel defense will be able to get a stop here for a gain of about 2.
And all that starts with Amaris Brown and that pressure from that nickelback position. When you know that Boise State, 11-point lead, you're in the third quarter, 5 minutes and 30 seconds left in this football game, they are going to try to establish their dominance at the line of scrimmage and run the football. They want to grind this football game out. They want to play a potato type of football game, and we need to see this UNLV defense play with the same type of aggressiveness and hard-hitting mentality that Boise State has so far today.
And on 2nd and 8, pressure. Matson has to use his legs. Picks up the first down and more. And is hit near the 40 after a huge run there by Maddox Matson.
Maddox Matson doing his best Anthony Calandria impression, understanding that when we are using the play action pass, if I can beat that edge defender and use a little bit of my pump fake, I'm going to be able to get to the second level. He does exactly that on that play. What an amazing play by Madsen, being able to stay composed, see the free rusher coming right at his face, pump fake, get him up in the air, and take as much as he can. You would have liked to see him get down and slide, but the dude is a baller. Same as Anthony Calandria, they are going to both be the leaders for this football team and make big plays when they need it most.
And an injured Rebel on the field looks like Andrew Powdrill, able to walk off on his own will following a huge run there of 27 yards by Maddox Madsen, brought down at the 39-yard line by Amaris Brown. Now this offense will come back out onto the field. This is a important, momentous drive for both sides. If the Rebels are able to get a stop, they remain within 2 scores. But if Boise State is able to go down the field, this could get out of hand really fast.
Yes, this is going to be a very big possession here for both teams and deciding what is going to be the outcome of this football game. And UNLV has to make sure they don't let this team get into their territory.
1st and 10, Chris Marshall, the motion man, from left to right, across the middle, connects. That's Bates down the left sideline, inside UNLV territory, picking up the first down.
And once again, because of the success that Boise State's been able to have running the football, it's made this play action game look so efficient. And Madsen has been doing an incredible job of putting the ball where only his receivers can get it. Right there, you have Bates running a simple over route after that play action. He's able to high point the football, keep that concentration catch, and pick up another first down for this rolling Boise State offense.
25 yards for Bates, 1st and 10 at the Rebel 36. Under center, Matson, handoff to Riley after he falls forward for a gain of 4.
And right now, it seems like Boise State can really do whatever they want on the offensive end. They are playing with a lot of momentum. They are playing with a lot of up-tempo, and it's wearing out this UNLV defense. And because of the 3-and-outs and the quick drives that UNLV has had on the offensive end, that is also going to take a toll on your defense and the aggressiveness that you're going to have when it comes to running after the quarterback and for these defensive backs when it comes to playing in coverage.
Bunch right trio formation here. Bates, the motion man. Play action, pump fake. Matson trying to use his legs and is brought down at the line of scrimmage. Pressure there from a number of Rebels, but brought down.
It's a great job right there by the Rebels being able to put pressure on the quarterback, allow him to stay in the pocket, keep you contained. You have Spellman. Yes, he falls for the pump fake, but he feeds him right into Blessing, and Blessing is able to clean it absolutely up, setting up a big 3rd down and 6 here for the Rebels.
2:45 remaining in the third quarter. A crucial 3rd down here in this game. Ball at the Rebel 32-yard line. Trips right in shotgun formation for the Broncos. Bates, the motion man, rolls out right. Across the middle. Connects. Trying to get a foot race to the end zone. Diving effort extension. He's in. Chris Marshall, 32-yard touchdown, and the Broncos are up by 3 scores.
And Chris Marshall absolutely kicking the door down in Boise, and this stadium is going crazy. Right here on a big 3rd and 6 call, they don't run the ball, they don't stay conservative. They have Chris Marshall in the bunch formation, able to get open within the zone defense. Paul Gunther stays in zone, does not go into man-to-man, and what does Chris Marshall do? Take the easy completion from his quarterback, and everything after is all him. That is his complete yak ability yard after the catch. They're able to get into the end zone, and this Boise State offense is rolling. UNLV will have to answer and answer fast with only 2 minutes and 21 seconds left in this third quarter.
Welcome back inside Rebel Sports Network. An absolute dominant offensive display here by Boise State. They lead 42-24, 6 plays, 88 yards, and only 3 minutes and 27 seconds on that drive led to Marshall, 32-yard receiving touchdown to put this Boise State offense up by 3 scores, Johnny.
And this UNLV team is going to have to make some adjustments, and they're going to have to make them fast. We've seen them play from behind before. But the difference is a lot of the teams that UNLV was playing were not the same caliber of football teams that Boise State is. And Boise State so far the last couple of years have had UNLV's number. And we already know about the dominance that they've been able to have at home in front of this crowd and be able to play with the type of energy they had. And they've played with more of a sense of urgency and trying to set a tone and a point in this game today.
The time is now more important than ever for this offense to get something going. And a 1-yard gain for Jet Thomas.
And right there, Corey Dennis just trying to go back to what is comfortable for this offense, trying to get the ball to this running back and not shy away from the running game. I understand, yes, you're down 18, but you still want that to be a part of this team. But we need to see more elaborate concepts when it comes to these wide receivers and trying to stretch the ball down the field. But we haven't seen a lot of it. Outside of Jaden Bradley's touchdown, we haven't seen the secondary get threatened very much.
2nd and 9 at the 26. Calandria, keeper, makes a man miss. First down and some more down the far sideline inside Boise State territory and tackled out of bounds at the 46. Calandria trying to keep this team up afloat and giving them life off this huge run here.
And sometimes the best decision is to just call a play for your best player. Corey Dennis does exactly that. It's a simple quarterback draw. We see the Eagles call this play a ton of times for Jalen Hurts, and sometimes you have to allow the athlete to just out-athlete everyone on the football field. He does like that right there on that play, a shot in the arm for
First
this
and
offense.
10 for the Rebels at the Broncos 46 across the middle, and it's just short, intended for D'Angelo Irvin there, following a 28-yard run, keeper by Calandria.
And Anthony Calandria having to step up in the pocket, getting rushed out, unable to put the ball right on the money where it needed to be for Irvin, setting up a 2nd and 10 here for the Rebels.
A minute and 5 to go in the third quarter. Calandria, 282 total yards on the ground and 2 total TDs himself, 193 on the air and 89 on the ground after a 28-yard pickup on his own on this drive using his legs. It's now 2nd and 10 with 8 on the play clock. They're down 18. Empty formation here for Calandria by himself. Looks, fires, hit as he throws. Intercepted, going the other way. Down the sideline. 20, 10, 5. Touchdown, Boise.
And what an amazing play by Amarion McCoy, having his eyes completely in the backfield, understanding that on 2nd and 10, what do I need to do? I know where the sticks are, and I also understand that if UNLV is in an empty formation, what are they going to do? They're going to pass the ball in the situation. They're going to look my way. And what does he do? He has his eyes completely on Anthony Calandria. He never, within his back pedal, he never puts his eye on the wide receiver. He only has it on Calandria. He's able to make a great hand catch through the wide receiver and take it in for 6. Boise State is rolling right now, and UNLV is looking like they are going to potentially get their first loss of the season.
60 yards the other way for Boise State, putting up another 7 points in this quarter. 21 points unanswered in the second half for the Broncos. You're listening to UNLV football here on Rebel Sports Network. Boise State dominance is the name of the game today here in Boise, Idaho. Amarion McCoy, 60-yard pick 6 going the other way. His 3rd career interception return to the end zone and his 2nd this season. 21 unanswered points in the 3rd quarter, and the Rebels have had no answers so far in the second half.
And a stark contrast from what we seen last week against the Air Force Academy with their secondary. This is a Division I high-level football team that has played a lot of high-level football games, and they've had UNLV's number the last couple years. But what we need to see from Anthony Calandria, Corey Dennis, and Dan Mullen when it comes to this offense and what they need to do, you cannot put the ball in harm's way. Right there, Anthony Calandria had to push the ball to the outside, had to get it out quick because he felt the rush.
1st and 10 at their own 25. Calandria quickly to the outside, connects with Glover, and is brought down at the 30 for a gain of 5.
And a nice quick read. You want to start the game, start this drive off nice, start it off right, pick up and take what the defense gives you. You don't need to force the ball out. Anthony Calandria does a great job right there on 1st down.
Calandria, the reigning Mountain West Offensive Player of the Week, intercepted on the previous drive. Now brings us to 2nd and 5 here. Handoff Glover, tries to get outside, spin moves, gets past the man, and is brought down at the 42 for a gain of 7.
Jalen Glover on that play, turning a negative into a complete positive, showing that his B button is completely working on this play, using a double spin move to get the defenders off of him, picking up the first down, and running as hard as he can to get as much as he can for this Rebel offense.
And Glover's run there will bring us to the end of the third quarter. An absolute massacre in Boise, Idaho. The Broncos lead 49-24 over the Rebels here on Rebel Sports Network. Welcome back to UNLV football here on Rebel Sports Network. Wyatt, Touchet, and Johnnie Graves on the call. The Rebels trail 49-24 here in this game in Boise, Idaho. With this win, the Broncos will be tied for first in the Mountain West with San Diego State, who's currently on a bye week this week. And taking a look at the schedule for the Rebels, the upcoming 3 games this upcoming week, they are on their final bye of the season, so they'll have time to rest, rejuvenate, and learn from this game. And following that, the Rebels come back home against New Mexico. They go on the road to Colorado State the week after, and then the week of the 15th, they come back home to play the Utah State Aggies, and it will be an exciting one to watch.
It's going to be a tough sledding for this UNLV team to end Mountain West Conference play, and they're going to go against a ton of teams that are feasting and hungry and ready and trying to get their lick back from the last couple of years from what they've seen from this UNLV football team. I think that with UNLV having this next bye week, there are going to be a lot of things on the offensive and defensive side of the ball that they're going to have to nip in the bud to clean up for this team if they want to try to make it back to the Mountain West Championship.
And the start of the fourth quarter, 1st and 10 for the Rebels at their own 43. Calandria, far sideline, targets incomplete through the hands of Bradley, unable to come down with it. Incomplete pass.
Right there. Corey Dennis, first play call, the drive, understanding that you're down 3 scores. You need to have explosive plays, and you need them quickly. Right there, you have Jaden Bradley man-to-man on the outside against Irby, and this is a matchup we've seen all day so far. Unfortunately, Jaden Bradley not able to corral the ball in with his hands, and he was unable to make that catch. Could have been a big explosive play for the Rebels, and it's more of what we've seen today.
Calandria and Bradley unable to find each other consistently throughout this game. And on 2nd and 10, Glover breaking out loose. Far sideline, has the lane, has the angle, has the lead blocker, and is brought down near the 20. The ball's loose and will be recovered at the 15. We'll see where they spot this one, but it's going to be first down Rebels.
Jalen Glover has been the heartbeat so far on this drive. We haven't seen him be this explosive all season long, but he has been a breath of fresh air for this Rebel offense, taking the halfback power and being able to bounce it to the outside. And what an amazing block by JoJo Earl, being able to give his running back enough space to make a big play.
It'll be 1st and 10 at the 20 for a red zone opportunity here for the Rebels. 14:40 to go in the fourth quarter. They are down 49-24. Calandria fires far sideline, incomplete, intended for Lions there.
And more great coverage on the outside by Ganser Jr., being able to make sure that there was nobody going to get open for this UNLV offense and not having any pass interference calls. They have been doing a better job of not bailing out this UNLV football team. On the flip side, UNLV today, 6 penalties. All 6 of those penalties have come back to haunt them in this football game, and it's a big reason why they are down 25 in this game.
2nd and 10 here at the Broncos 20. Handoff up the middle as Thomas breaks the tackle, fighting for yards, and is brought down at the 16 for a gain of 4.
Jet Thomas always running hard, doing the best example and showing what he can do at the running back position for this football team. What could have been a negative play for the Rebels, once again, is a positive because of the hard running by Jet Thomas on that play.
It's now 3rd and 6 for the Rebels here in the red zone.
It's a big play call and moment in the game for the Rebels here.
Less than 14 minutes to go in this ball game. 10 on the play clock. Gums in motion. Calandria keeper. He's lost and is brought down for a loss there at the 20.
And right here, UNLV and Corey Dennis, they tried to see if they can catch this Boise State defense slipping with another quarterback draw. But unfortunately, this Boise State defense has been locked in on reading their keys and getting after the quarterback, and he is unable to find any space and has to take another sack. UNLV is forced to go for it on 4th and 8 here.
Coach Malone did not like that play. He wanted him to bounce out to the right side. And Calandria here trying to have heroic efforts late in this game. 5 on the play clock. The Rebels are 5 of 7 converting on 4th down. On the 18-yard line, fires towards the seam. No, incomplete pass, turnover on downs, intended there for JoJo Earl.
And more of what we've seen so far today is Anthony Calandria having to force the ball downfield in a situation where you have to have it, and this Boise State defense putting enough pressure on him to throw the ball out of bounds and not give JoJo Earl a chance to make a play on the ball. All Boise State here so far.
back in Boise, Idaho. The Rebels unable to pick up the first down on the fourth down conversion intended for JoJo Earl there. The Rebels trying to march down the field, unable to convert. And now the ball's turned back over to the leading Boise State Broncos, 49-24, 13:03 remains. And they'll take over at their own 18-yard line. Under center is Maddox. Hands off up the middle to Riley for a gain of 2.
And this is going to be the name of the game for Boise State. They're going to want to not have to put themselves in harm's way with the football. This ball is going to be on the ground for the rest of this football game. They've seen the success they've been able to have in this game. 266 rushing yards against this UNLV defense that has been gashed the last 2 games in the run. This is going to be something heading into this bye week that Paul Gunther is going to have to work on with this defense, is how are we going to efficiently and effectively stop the run.
Well, you take a look at the season, Johnny. The first 5 games, 142 yards allowed, and they only allowed 26 points. And the last 2, 332 yards as Riley breaks free for a run. Shoestring tackle there prevents the touchdown house call. But as we were just saying, 332.5 yards average in the last 2 games on the ground, allowing 48.5 points so far these last 2 games. And it has absolutely made this difficult for the Rebels to stay in this one.
And it's been very hard. It's been very hard to see the same thing happen over and over and over again. And it's been a definition of insanity for this UNLV defense. And it starts with the defensive tackle position in Lucas Conti and Jalen Lee. They have to do a better job of meeting these linemen at the line of scrimmage and imposing their will and not allowing them to get pushed back.
That 27-yard gain for Riley puts him at 192 yards on the ground, which is his career high on the day. And a gain there of 4 for Sherrod.
Maybe a sign of things to come for this Boise State offense, that maybe it wasn't just Ashton Genty and what we've seen. This offensive line is a big reason as to why they have been so successful the last couple years in terms of running the football. These guys are able to move the line of scrimmage and make sure that if they are pulling, if they are moving, they are going to use their leverage and get where they need to.
Matson under center, 10 to go on the play clock, 2nd and 6, less than 11 minutes to go in this ball game. Hands off to the right side. Sherrod met by a number of Rebels, stopped for a gain of 2.
And that was one of the best run stuffs that we've seen so far in this football game, Wyatt. But it can't be when you're down 25 points and there's only 10 minutes left to go in the football game. These things and these problems that we've seen from this UNLV football team, they have got to get nipped in the bud going into this next bye week, or else UNLV is going to have a lot of trouble, and it's going to put a lot of strain on these linebackers and on this secondary to end off the rest of the season.
And an opportunity for this Rebel defense to get off the field. 3rd and 5, 10:20 to go. They trail 49-24. Hand off to the right side. And stopped there by McDuffie after a gain of 2. Let's see if the Broncos come off the field.
It's going to be a very interesting play call to see what the Broncos do in this position. They have good down and distance, and we've seen them be able to be successful so far running the football today. They kind of have nothing to lose in this scenario. You go for it. You're still in a good enough field position for your defense to not let up some points and potentially hold this UNLV offense to only a field goal.
A gain of 3 there for Riley makes it 4th and 2 here, and they're going to go for it. Matson under center. Motions Caples inside, and there's a flag on the play, pre-snap on the Broncos.
And UNLV once again with another bonehead play. It may be a false start. It looks like it will be a false start on the play, and they will have to get backed up.
Awaiting the official call here. But head coach Spencer Danielson is pointing towards the UNLV defense, saying that should be on them.
I did see some movement on the left side of that defensive line. And again, if it does go on the Rebels, it's some more bad play we've seen from them again today.
And it'll be a false start penalty on the Broncos, backing them up 5 yards, making it 4th and 7. And so this punting unit will come out.
And the Rebels catch a break on that play. There was movement on both sides. Unfortunately for Boise State, they happened to get caught. Number 88, Wagner, was a little bit too antsy on that play. And I'm pretty sure they probably weren't going to call this play. They probably weren't going to go for it. They wanted to have UNLV move. Unfortunately, penalties are the name of the game. They're setting themselves up now, 4th and 7, to have to punt this ball away.
Now Doyle, with 9:35 and ticking left in this game, will be punting it Deep back for the Rebels is Irvin. And it's a fake. Completes the pass. Picks up the first down. No respect from Boise State. And the sideline is going insane.
Boise State trying to put the nail in the coffin on this football game and put salt in the wound for the UNLV Rebels. What do? They call a fake pass. They came out in a very odd formation. And so what do? They throw a pass to the tight end that just got them the false start penalty. And he's able to pick up the big completion and give this team a first down. It has been absolutely all Boise State today, and they have shown why execution matters in Division I football.
Matt Wagner, the redshirt sophomore, picks up the first down. And the screen pass here completes it to Matt Lauder. Back-to-back plays for the tight end crew. And what a gutsy call there to put away this UNLV offense in a completely demoralizing sense.
And we've seen the back-to-back weeks now for Boise State being able to have big plays on special teams. This time you're able to have your punter be able to roll out, put the ball right on the money to where it needed to be to pick up the first down and the yard to gain. This head coach has done an incredible job of being able to put this team, and Spencer Danielson has put this team right where they need to be at top of the Mountain West.
And Doyle with his second consecutive week where he's thrown a pass and completed it. Last week, a 10-yard pass after a muff handle, throws it in for a touchdown, and there puts the stamp on this win for the Boise State Broncos. It is now third down for this offense for the Boise State team.
And very efficient day from Maddox Madsen, being able to be 13 for 22, 233 yards, and 3 touchdowns, and use that play action to his advantage. Outside of that one interception in the first half, the guy has been crystal clear at the quarterback position and has been playing a lot like what we've seen Anthony Calandria play like so far this year.
The current drive, 8 plays, 52 yards, 3rd and 1, handoff up the middle, and it is picked up by Gaines.
And another example of why this UNLV defense has to stop the run, because they are once again allowing this clock to churn and keep running on them. They have not been able to effectively stop the run. There are going to be holes when they look back at the film for this game that Paul Gunther is going to need to shore up for this team if they want to continue the stretch of games and winning ways that they've had so far in the season.
Rebels came into this game 6-0 undefeated. And this was a highly anticipated blowout for Boise State as they were the 13.5-point favorites. They currently lead by 25. Handoff up the middle on first down will be brought down after a gain of about 3.
And sometimes games like this are a better testament to who you are and the character of your football team. We talked about it with Dan Mullen being on the award watch list for that Paul Bear Bryant Award. There's going to be a lot of changes and things that are going to be talked about in this game that he's going to address with this football team. And they're going to have to take some hard looks in the mirror as to what kind of team they're going to be if they really want to make it back to the mountaintop.
And Dylan Riley, 201 yards on the ground after that last carry on first down. He comes off the field, and it's Gaines on the carry here. Now setting up third down.
And a three-headed monster today in both Maddox Madsen, Dylan Riley, and then you also have Chris Marshall, the leading wide receiver for this team, being able to be very efficient, all three of them today, and doing their jobs. That's exactly what you want to see from the leaders of their football team today, and they have done an incredible job for head coach Spencer Danielson in making sure that they continue their winning ways against the Rebels and also continue their undefeated streak so far here at home.
3rd and 7 with 2 on the play clock. Madsen barely gets it off in time. Fires towards a wide open flat. It's Sherrod. He's in. Touchdown Broncos. They break this game open even more.
And right here you have a guy that had actually muffed 2 punts and gave a fumble away earlier on in this game. And what does Nate Potter do? He's able to give his running back another opportunity, show that he still has belief in what he can bring to this offense and this three-headed monster backfield. And they have a running back wide open out the backfield on the wheel route, and he's completely untouched until Jaheim Joseph can barely get there, and it's going to be another touchdown for this Boise State-Idaho offense.
21-yard pass and catch. Catch and run for Malik Sherrod. 12 plays, 82 yards, and chucked down a lot of time. 7:52. The Broncos lead in this blowout 56-24 with 5:11 remaining. You're listening to UNLV football on Rebel Sports Network. Mountain West dominant for the Boise State Broncos. 29 of the last 32 games they've won in Mountain West play, and today they have put the emphatic stamp that they own this conference. 56-24, the Broncos lead over the Rebels. And as the Rebels look ahead, they have a decent competition up ahead. One of the biggest games they'll have is that Ninth Island Bowl game for that big pineapple trophy against Hawaii in the Ninth Island in Vegas at Allegiant Stadium. But here, there's a lot to learn from this game.
There's going to be a lot to learn from this game, Wyatt. And if you're Paul Gunther and this entire team, you're going to need to have the most come out of this game. And there's going to be a lot of things that Dan Mullen is going to have wanted from this football team, but they're also going to have to try to make the most of the situation, take what they can get from the tape, and understand that there is a lot to learn from when it comes to this team. And it's not going to be the end of the season. There doesn't need to be a collapse for this team, but they have to be able to get things together and understand where they went wrong in this football game.
And so now the Rebels will come out onto the field with 5:11 remaining at their own 28-yard line. Handoff up the middle is Glover, and there's a penalty flag on the play.
I believe it's going to be another penalty on false start. And there's just been a lot of sloppy play today from the Rebels. We've seen them have a lot of mistakes and guys being too early, moving too quick, not doing where they're supposed to be, and it's been backing up and it's been shooting themselves in the foot. And then you're playing a team like Boise State and the dominance they've been able to have within the Mountain West Conference. You kind of sometimes got to take a look at the enemy and see, how have they been successful? They played disciplined, smart football, and they haven't done things that are going to negate the good things they do in the football games. That's what UNLV is going to have to take from this game and learn from it.
1st and 15 now after that false start penalty. Glover picks those yards pretty much back up with a gain of 4 brought down at the 27. And the clock will continue to tick.
The biggest thing for UNLV coming out of this game for the rest of the 4 minutes and 45 seconds we have remaining is you want it to be clean. You want to try to get something positive, end the game off on a positive note. You don't want anything bad to happen and continue to have some negative connotation and negative energy finish out this game.
And on 2nd and 11, Glover gets the handoff, hits a man, fighting for the extra yards, and picks up the first down at the 38.
Been very impressed with the type of fight and effort I've seen from Jalen Glover so far on these last 2 drives for the Rebels. He's been running extremely hard and giving Corey Dennis another option in this running game. I love the aggressiveness and the same fight that he's had throughout the game and not giving up for the UNLV Rebels no matter the score.
Coming up later tonight, the UNLV Skating Rebels defending home ice once again in this series against the GCU Ice Lopes. You can tune in to UNLV Hockey on YouTube live. Jalen Glover getting outside, has some distance to go, but inside Boise State territory for a huge pickup there for over 30.
Great job by Jalen Glover being able to follow his blocks and being one of the bright spots in this second half for this UNLV offense. He's able to follow those pulling tackles and pulling guards, see where the hole is, and then completely explode. And if it wasn't for one of the Boise State defenders to be able to come from that safety position and get a tackle on him, it would have been a touchdown for Jalen Glover. But you have to love the effort you've seen from him in the second half.
Glover, 6 carries, 112 yards on the ground. As Lee takes the handoff here. As I was saying before that big run, the ACHA defending champions, the Skating Rebels, will be defending home ice at City National Arena tonight. Puck drop at 7:20 p.m. Our friends and partners at UNLV Hockey will be calling the game live. Dominic Loval, former UNLV alum, will be on the mic tonight. Do not want to miss it. It's going to be a good game. As it is 2nd and 8 for the Rebels here, less than 3 minutes to go. They trail 56-24. Calandria near sideline connects. Touchdown Rebels. It's Troy O'Meara for the touchdown.
We haven't heard Troy O'Meara's name get called very much in this football game, but right there you're showing exactly why you got him on this team, to be that big target for Anthony Calandria, and they're able to pick up a beautiful pitch and catch on the simple X fade, just running a fade to the end zone. Use your big frame, use your big body, throw the ball up, and allow your receiver to get it. He is able to do that for the Rebels, and they're able to get something positive, something good that they can go off of film on and continue to have some energy. As frustrating as this loss will be for this team, there is something positive for this team to build off of.
17-yard throw and completion for a touchdown to Troy O'Meara. The Rebels trail 56-31 with 2:45 remaining in this game. You're listening to UNLV football here on Rebel Sports Network. Welcome back here on Rebel Sports Network. The Rebels scored 17-yard touchdown to Troy Omire. They now trail 56-31, and an onside attempt here, but it's recovered by Boise State with 2:44 remaining in this ball game.
And right there, UNLV just trying to get one last opportunity to potentially get the football back. But once again, it's just a little, too late for this Rebel team in general. And they're going to have to just take this one. They're going to have to bite the bullet. The undefeated streak was good while it lasted, but there's going to be a lot of things that UNLV is going to have to take out of this game, and it's going to have to start with this running rush defense, and it's also going to have to end with being a cleaner team. They're going to have to get rid of some of those bonehead penalties that have come back to haunt them, and there's going to be a lot of things that Dan Mullen is going to get out of this game. Yes, it hurts to lose, but also sometimes that's what it takes to become a better football team.
Taking a look at the player of the game, Dylan Riley, the no-brainer here. 15 carries, 200 rushing yards on the ground, his career high with one touchdown and that breakaway 65-yard run to tack onto it for the long of the day. An absolute display here. Now coming in is Max Cutforth, the second-string quarterback from Nampa, Idaho, in for the Broncos here.
And the sophomores here, the Broncos simply just not trying to get anybody hurt. They're going to run this ball out heading into the 2-minute warning. But they did what they had to do to win this football game. They won in the trenches, they run in the run, and then because they were so successful with their run game, they were able to air the ball out with their play-action pass game, and it led to being more successful through the air. You had Madsen being able to deliver the ball to Chris Marshall, and he's been his leading receiver. 3 catches, 96 yards, and a touchdown today for the Boise State.
The Broncos lead 56-31 here at the 2-minute timeout. Don't go anywhere. More football on the other side. Thanks for sticking with us here on Rebel Sports Network. Wyatt, Touchet, and Johnny Graves here on the call. Coming up for the Run-In Rebels, their season starts tomorrow, the exhibition game at least, at Seattle in Washington against the Huskies at 12 p.m. Pacific is tip-off. And a first down carry for the Broncos will move the chains with less than 2 minutes to go here. First down for Boise State. Run-In Rebels begin the Josh Pastner era with the running Rebels, and it'll be interesting to see because they have a lot of injuries. It might not be as reflective with such a big powerhouse team like Washington's program has been in the past, but it'll be exciting to see nonetheless that finally the talk of www.unlvtickets.com to get your tickets to go see that game and watch it on Big Ten Plus tomorrow.
And what a trend for all of UNLV sports in general. You have the debut of the Dan Mullen era here, starting the season off 6-0, now looking at 6-1, but still extremely successful. You love what you see from the culture building at UNLV, and now you're bringing in Josh Pastner, the great head coach coming from Georgia Tech, taking a couple years off, being able to come here now to UNLV, bring in transfers like Nas Cunningham, Miles Shea, and try to transform this program, try to bring it back to where we see in the 90s, where UNLV was known for their basketball. They were known for their program. We've seen what happened with the Krugers and the different eras and things of that nature, but there's a lot to look forward to when it comes to the UNLV sports all around, not just this football team, but the basketball, football, volleyball. There's a lot of things going on in the city, and a lot of great leaders here for this school, and you love to see it here for all of us at Rebel Sportsnet.
And with that, the 10th straight win for the Broncos over the UNLV Rebels here today. The Rebels lose their first game of the season at the hands of the Broncos, 56-31. The Broncos win at home for their 16th straight game on the Big Blue. A special thank you to Kevin E. Martin, our program director, and a special thank you to Ben A big special thank you to Ben Howdeshell for operating our game today and making this thing happen. From all of us here at Rebel Sports Network, I'm Wyatt Touchet, Johnnie Graves. Have a good one. See you later, folks.